question, but I'm not gonna ask this on the air. What do you think we're gonna get for lunch today?
I don't know if they're going to do lunch because there's only one game.
No, cause this game will go on for some time.
Why do you think that?
It's a final. A lot of things.
There's no reason why it should
But
go on for a long time.
they would also give us lunch just for like.
Pleasant good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Pearland Moosa Stadium. Make that the Moosa Stadium in Pearland, Texas, for the final of the 2023 Turmeric Spring Super Edition HYPL. The final is going to be contested between the Katy Raiders and the Texas Skywalkers. The Katy Raiders happen to have won the toss, and they decided to have a bowl. This is Brian Walters. I'm happy to be joining you for the next several hours, let's say the next 3 or so hours. And alongside me, I have the young guy who thinks he was a cricketer, but he's no longer a cricketer because now he's a commentator, Mr. Ishan Malpani. Good morning, Ishan.
Good morning, Mr. Brian. How are you today?
I'm fantastic. The final, looking at the conditions, very pleasant conditions overall. Temperature probably 63, 64 degrees Fahrenheit. Very sunny, not a cloud in the sky. There was a lot of dew on the ground earlier, but it seems mostly to have dried off. Still a little bit of dew there, but it's mostly dried off. I think perfect conditions for cricket.
Yes, I agree. Katy Raiders choosing to bowl first. Not surprised. There's still some dew on the field, but say there's a flat wicket and the dew drying off, bowling first may be a surprising option.
When I looked at the wicket earlier, and I think based on everything you've seen for this entire tournament, both weekends, the wicket that is prepared or that has been prepared today is the best of all of them. It is to me, very flat. I think it's going to not spin very much for the spinners. I think the pacers are going to have trouble getting good bounce out of it. So, in my mind, perfect batting conditions. And so I was a little bit surprised to hear Captain Arya Kanantha choose to bowl first because they're a strong batting side. And, you're playing in the final. So runs on the board means a whole lot more in the final than it does in any other form of the game or in the group stages. So I truly expect that the team that bats first, let's say if you bat in the final, you score 150. 150, chasing 150 in a final will be almost like chasing 180 in a group stages match because there's much more pressure and every mistake is magnified. So there's a lot more going through the minds of the batters when they're chasing. And so in the meantime, not sure exactly why we're panning around the ground, but you're seeing a good look at the Moosa Stadium. For those of you who don't know, again, the second ICC certified stadium in the United States of America, the first being in Lauderhill, Florida. But in this high stakes match, you're opening the batting with two of the best, Arjun Mahesh and Rishi Ramesh. Tell us a little bit about what you think about those two young batters.
Both of them are honestly really good. Arjun Mahesh having a great tournament, and Rishi Ramesh hitting with his two great innings yesterday, 70-some and then 60 or 50-some again.
Fantastic. And, of course, as we have all weekend or all tournament, the umpires are two of the best. Altaf Mahesania operating at the Massey Ranch Road end, and at the far end, the Pearland end, is Sujit Gupta. So people are all in position, or almost all in position. about everybody in possession. I think they're taking just a little bit of time. There seems to be a tractor in the outfield, so we need to get rid of that before we start playing. So the bowling side, the Katy Raiders are all on the field. Rishi Ramesh and Arjun Mahesh just taking a few last minutes before they make their way to the field. But so this brings up, it presents an opportunity for us to talk about our predictions. Who do you think is going to win today and why?
Honestly, I don't know, but both of these teams are really good teams. Both of them made their way to the finals just by winning and sheer skill. No luck was involved. And also Sean Jindal is opening the bowling, not Ryan Bagani for some reason.
Interesting. So opening the bowling with Sean Jindal, the left arm orthodox spinner. You hear the applause as both openers are walking out to the wicket, Arjun Mahesh and Rishi Ramesh. You and I thought ahead of time that the batting or the bowling would be opened by Ryan Bagani, but Sean Jindal being the opening bowler will be interesting. Both of these batters are very capable, very aggressive. In theory, on a helpful pitch, a left-arm orthodox spinner would be turning the ball across the two right-handers. But as we said earlier, just looking at the pitch, it does not appear to be one that will take a lot of turn. And so Sean Jindal is going to have to be bang on target accurate with his line and his length, particularly during the power play, because if he's in any way straying from the proper line and length, he can certainly go for runs.
Yeah, I agree, but thinking they would want to take some early wickets, I think they're trying to spin it across the batsman, trying to get them to give the edge or pop it up in the air.
That is certainly the thinking why you'd want to have a left-arm orthodox spinner. Well, we are now all ready. So Sean Jindal with the ball in hand. Umpire Sujit Gupta says, let's play. And we are ready to start the bowling to Arjun Mahesh. First delivery tossed up and very full. Yorker length delivery. Now you have two fielders outside the circle. Obviously, as we always say, during the power play is the first 36 legal deliveries, the first 6 overs. During that period of time, only 2 fielders are allowed outside the inner circle. And as of right now, those 2 fielders are in the deep at long off and at deep extra cover. So that tells me that you're going to be looking to have Sean Jindal bowl a line that is either on off stump or outside off stump, and he'll be bowling relatively full. So let's see exactly how he executes that plan. It's going to be really important for him to stick to that line. Anything too straight, he's going to go for runs. And that's just punched down the ground to that one of the 2 fielders I mentioned outside of the circle. And Arjun Mahesh is off the mark. And we have the first run of the finals. So just taking a little bit of time to get settled here. Rishi Ramesh, powerful striker of the cricket ball. So he can score traditionally, but he can also hit big. So once again, emphasizing the point that Sean Jindal's line and length are going to have to be spot on. You don't want to be too full, and you certainly don't want to be too straight. That length is exactly where you need to be. When I mention you don't want to be too full, what I mean is you don't want to give him room to drive. But that length is right in the block hole, preventing that big shot.
Yeah, I agree with all what you said. Just giving him too much, just a little too full. But the fielders, I wouldn't say keep long off for now. I'll keep a deep mid wicket just because he's trying to spin it across them. But
that is struck right back to the bowler. Spectator catch, actually. Almost looked like a drop catch, but in essence came off the ground. So that is a very good, a very productive first over. Just 1 run coming from it at the end of the first over. The score is 1 without loss.
Yeah. I think the opening with Sean because he has his line on target, like we saw yesterday as well. His line was super nice, super good. Just keeping it there, letting the batsmen do what they want, and letting them take their chances.
Well, that's exactly why, from what you just said about a deep mid wicket, you don't need a deep mid wicket if he's going to keep that off stump line or that line outside off. So that's full credit to him that he's been able to exactly nail that line and that length. And now it will be the one who we wanted to see bowl earlier, Ryan Bagani. So he didn't bowl the first over, but he is sharing the new ball with Sean Jindal. Ryan Bagani, right arm seam bowler. Has bowled very well this entire tournament, but once again, he's up against two youngsters who know what they're doing with the bat in hand. Tell us a little bit about Ryan Bagani as a player.
Ryan Bagani, an opening batsman, but an explosive player all around, bowling, fielding, batting. But to these two batsmen, and it's a finals as well, I think he's going to give it his all in batting and bowling. So let's just see what he tries and what Arjun Mahesh and Rishi Ramesh try to do against one of the best in this tournament.
Well, I'll talk about the field in just a second. First delivery, cut to backward point for no run. Note that the two fielders who are outside the circle are square of the wicket. So there's a deep point and there is a deep backward square. That tells me that he's going to be bowling a relatively short length. And depending on the line, if it's too short, if too straight, he's going to be asking the batters to play on the leg side. If it's too far outside off, he's going to be asking them to play on the offside. But nothing I don't expect is going to be very full. I'll have to re-bowl that one as the first wide for the day has been delivered. That is umpire Altaf Maisanya with the arms raised.
Ryan, overusing his arm, just going a little to the offside. Ooh, that's
very full, very straight, clip to mid-wicket. Now, if you're going to have this sort of field, I don't know that that's a good length for you to be bowling. That length is one that obviously had that gotten through the fielder at short mid-wicket, that's going to be 4 runs every time. So some thinking that needs to be done, I think, here by Ryan Bagani to make sure that he has the type of bowling that's consistent with the field that he's setting. That's better. Short of a length, just defended by Arjun Mahesh back down the wicket.
Yeah, just thinking he's maybe trying to swing it in, maybe trying to wrap him on the pad, getting that LBW, maybe just clipping onto the stumps, but a little too full. But I disagree with that going for 4 because they have that person going a little deep. He's a little deep, may cut it off.
I don't know that we had the conversation. You're not allowed to disagree with me. Did we ever straighten that out?
No.
Ryan Bagani again. Short. Interesting. Advancing down the wicket was Arjun Mahesh. Played well to that fielder in the deep on the offside, but they run through for a couple. So maybe just a touch of impatience being shown by Arjun Mahesh. And I don't mean that negatively. I mean that he's looking to get things going. Only 4 runs on the board so far. We're 2 deliveries away from having completed 2 overs in the finals. So they're scoring right now at the rate of 2.4 runs and over, which for me, I don't think they had in mind when they wanted to bat, or at least when they were asked to bat first. So look for them. Here comes down the wicket again and now lofts this into the deep. That's going to run away for the first boundary. So Arjun Mahesh looking to take the attack to Ryan Bagani, and that results in the first 4 of the day.
Yeah, that one just coming down the track, just a little bit and just hitting it over Sohamotam. But he's showing a little impatience, just trying to get runs on the board because this is a final, as you said, and they would want to put a big score for Katy Raiders to chase down because Katy Raiders have an impeccable batting attack. So let's see what Arjun Mahesh And though they were also running really fast. I see them running fast between the wickets.
Scoop shot. That's a new one. I've never seen him play that shot. It's going to run away for 4. And maybe we were just a little too early talking about the fact that runs weren't scored very quickly, because those are 11 big runs coming from the second over. At the end of 2, the score is 12 without loss.
He's a brave man for just trying to scoop right on, but it's a really nice shot.
So a little bit of excitement in that second over. The first ball by Ryan Bagani. Arjun Mahesh being a little bit more enterprising and getting 11 runs on the board from 9 balls, faced with those 2 boundaries. So Sean Jindal, it will be interesting to see whether the very cautious approach that these 2 took to Sean Jindal continues. Now, credit to Sean Jindal. He bowled a very good line and length. And this is a full toss that's just bunted down the ground for a single.
Yeah, just a little too full with that. I think he's trying to make them take their chances now after what they did to Ryan, taking the attack to him. I think they're going to try and take chances off Sean as well.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see Arjun Mahesh matched up against Sean Jindal. Mahesh looking to be the more aggressive, now looking to use his feet, skipping down the track. So far, look, Ishan, I've not seen a lot of turn from any of these deliveries yet, so it'll be, I think, easier to play Sean Jindal. Looking for a late cut, doesn't quite get it away. Yes, no, and they end up with a quick single.
Yeah, good running by Rishi Ramesh to call that early, but a little too short and a little too wide for from Sean Jindal, and Arjun Mahesh just a tad little impatient and just wants to score, but I think he should just wait for the right ball to come.
So this is good cricket, as we used to call it, tip and run. Just drop the ball in front of those fielders on the inner circle. They're probably a little too far back on the circle to stop the singles, so maybe an opportunity there for the Katy Raiders to be just a touch more aggressive. And this again is stroked down the ground for another single. So this over so far, doing it just in singles. 16 is on the board. Just one more ball remaining here in the third. Once again, inside the power play, the first 3 overs, the field is going to be much more aggressive because only 2 fielders allowed outside. And little bit of a delay. Rishi Ramesh obviously has some issue with his batting pads. And cricket is one of the few sports where you, even though you want to knock your opponent's head off, you still go help him if he needs assistance in this way. One of the best things about the sport for me.
Yeah, good sportsmanship, but Sean Jindal just telling his fielders to go a little back, but he should keep them in because now they're just stroking it and just taking quick singles.
Last delivery. Struck very nicely, but there's protection out there. Should just be a single. Yep. Good pickup and a strong throw into the non-striker's end. That completes the third over. 5 runs coming from the over, 5 singles. And at the end of 3, the score is 17 without loss. So young Ishan Malpan is going to take a bit of a break and replace one young man with another. Good morning, Shwetan.
Good morning, Brian. Very, very exciting day. Great game of cricket and prospect here at the Moosa Stadium. The big final of the Hypl Spring Edition 2023. 2 deserving teams, I think, have made their ways onto the field, fighting for that big trophy. And it's a matter of pride as well for both the teams. Skywalkers actually losing the toss and have been asked to bat first. And the Katy Riders have had a splendid start great start for the bowling side. However, no wickets have been taken, so the Skywalkers will try to build on the start that they've got in the last couple of overs. Some big shots coming from the bat of Arjun Mahesh. Now there's a Ryan Bagani in the second over, bowling a tap full on the offside. He set his field, like Brian was saying, some time back, predominantly on the offside. Tried to bowl a couple of surprise deliveries on his pads. The first time it was hit straight to Sohan Matam, and the second one, Arjun beautifully flicked one. And big surprise, going down on his knees and flicking one over fine leg so early in the innings.
It's going to be interesting to me to see what this matchup is. Rishi Ramesh, big hitter, and also proper cricketer. So this is punched through the offside. Proper extra cover drive, and it races across the outfield for 4.
A brilliant shot there on the up, driven past the fielder inside the circle, and had enough legs to go past the boundary. Nobody was going to be able to stop that. Rishi Ramesh showing his class.
Rishi Ramesh, oh, look at this. We missed it when it happened. It was a no ball and thus a free hit coming up. So missed it live. I just happened to glance up and see umpire Mahisanya signaling the free hit. So a bonus run with the no ball, but more importantly, this next delivery is going to be a free hit.
Yeah, so very clearly the second half of the power play starting in favor of the Skywalkers.
Very full and stroked away over the top of extra cover. Same direction, more power, 4 more.
Had enough opportunity to free his arms and lift it over the infield. Just one bounce over the extra cover fielder.
Well, all of the runs appear to be coming off of the pacer. They've taken a liking to Ryan Bagani, and maybe he's just a little rattled, maybe not getting the ball exactly where he wants it, given the field that he has set. And then, of course, the fact that he's overstepped, to me, indicates that he is maybe not quite there in terms of his readiness. Now they're changing the field. A deep sweeper, make that a deep point, and a deep extra cover. So for me, that absolutely means that you're going on an off-stump line or outside off, and you're asking Rishi Ramesh to keep playing in that direction. And that's well bowled. That's off the front foot and a shy at the non-striker's end, but there is a single. So runs are starting to flow at a much greater rate now.
It can be however big a player you are. The occasion sometimes gets to you. Ryan Bagani, big final, overstepping and conceding a boundary of that delivery. Free hit also going for a boundary. So the runs are starting to flow really quick now in the 4th over of the power play.
And Rishi Ramesh, now the non-striker, is Arjun Mahesh, who before this over started had been the more aggressive of the two. Gets a good ball here that he has to respect, though.
Certainly one more time angling it into the pads, trying to see if he could hit the pads and get a leg before. Arjun Mahesh shuffled just a little bit outside of them and flicked, unfortunately, straight to the fielder on the bounce, but no run taken.
Advancing again, quick single. That is good cricket. Always going to be good cricket when you find that gap, hit the ball in the gap, and then take off running. That's good, proper cricket. That indicates good coaching for me.
Absolutely. The moment you don't get a run, the next thing you do is try to get to the other end unless it's a loose ball. Exactly what Arjun Mahesh did there. Another good ball from Ryan Bagani. Just plays it towards the leg side and runs across for a single. This time slightly short and also with offered, but he's got protection out there. The fielder from the sweeper position comes in very quickly, returns it, nice flat arm, and just one run taken. So the end of over number 4 of power play. The Texas Skywalkers 29 without any wicket lost. How well has Sean bowled his 2 overs? He started, everybody expected Ryan Bagani to take the ball, bowling the first over, but it was a little bit of a surprise. Starting with spin, Sean Jindal bowled 2 overs for just 6 runs.
It's a measure of how accurate he's bowling and bowling to a plan. The plan is obviously to bowl an off-stump line and bowl it so full that the batters cannot play you square, but also full in the sense that you don't get the batter to elevate the ball. So really just Yorker length on off stump. A couple of them he's gotten wrong and actually bowl low full tosses, but you don't mind a low full toss if the line is okay. So 2 overs, 6 runs. They're going to give him the third here. Will be interesting to see if Rishi Ramesh and Arjun Mahesh can capitalize on anything loose from him. Now this first one just dropped into the offside, and that's not going to be a run. Good start to the over again by Sean Jindal.
13 deliveries bowled without a boundary conceded. That speaks immensely of his abilities and accuracy so far. He wouldn't mind those singles being taken. He wouldn't care if they score 5 or 6 singles in the over. On the other hand, there's a chance of a run out in the opposite end, in the non-strikers end, but no damage done. So they're saying they've opened up shoulders in the last couple of overs, so I'm sure they'll try with the 2 dot balls being delivered at the beginning of this over. I definitely expect something to give in here. Rishi Ramesh probably going down the track or something of that sort, try to get that boundary.
I think Arjun Mahesh is the one that's more likely to go down the track. But having said that, that last ball that was bowled by Sean Jindal was pushed through relatively quicker and flatter. Now this is in the air, catchable, but landing short of mid-on. And they take a quick single. Wow, it was in the air for a bit. But I'll tell you what, those of the 2 opening bowlers, the one who's looked the most like taking wickets and like keeping the batters in check certainly has been Sean Jindal.
Brilliant bowling. The Shiv Shani at mid-on, not knowing whether to go forward for the catch or stop the ball from going past him. Just conceded 1 run there, but a half an opportunity. This time, Arjun Mahesh dances down the track, tries to play it past the fielder at extra cover. He did very well there to stop that. A single taken nevertheless.
I do believe that Arjun Mahesh is the more enterprising of the 2 and the one who is going to be looking to force the action more. So 2 balls remaining here in the 5th. 8 balls remaining in the power play. This is stroked to extra cover for no run. Brilliant bowling again, continuing here by Sean Jindal. Just 2 runs coming from this, his 3rd over with 1 ball to come. Only conceded 8 runs so far in his spell, and make that 8 runs off of 3 overs. So absolutely brilliant bowling. I think you got exactly what you're looking for from your opening finger spinner when you brought him in to open the bowling. So 5 overs gone, the score's 31 without loss.
Extremely brilliant. That's the way I would put it. 3 overs for just 8 runs. 2 top batters at the crease, unable to get him away. He's bowled accurately. He's watched the batsman's feet. I saw Arjun Mahesh jumping down the track once, and then immediately he shortened the length, bowled it flat, not giving him the opportunity to go over the top. 50% of the power play. He's taken the responsibility, conceded just 8 runs. Now Ryan Bagani from the pavilion end is being replaced by Shiv Shani, the left armour. He's been a prolific bowler over the last couple of years and has done wonderfully well this tournament as well. Excellent fielder, excellent bowler, excellent all-round cricketer, Shiv Shani. Just marking his run up there.
Shiv Shani, if it were, 40 or so years ago, this could have been me. Left arm over the wickets. And from that left arm over angle, he's going to be looking to keep that ball outside the line of off stump. It becomes critical for him to keep that line. Anything from a left arm over angle that is too straight can be clipped away for runs. Right now, only 1 fielder in the circle. Make that 2. There's going to be a mid-on whenever he replaces or repositions himself. But it appears as though they're bowling to, or he's going to be bowling to a 7-2 field. So make that a 6-3 field. So on a 6-3 field, that line absolutely has to be outside the line of off stump. And that is exactly where he bowls it. That one maybe just a little too full, but I think that's what he's going to be looking to accomplish.
Yeah, and Shiv Shani naturally angles the ball across the right-hander all the time. I haven't seen him bowl really anything that comes back in. It'll be a great weapon for him to add at some point. Maybe he does it occasionally, but predominantly bowls with the angle. Here he comes again. Second ball outside the off stump. Close to the batsman, no width or anything offered. Just a single taken. This is brilliant. Just 32 runs with 4 balls to go in the power play. I do believe that the Skywalkers have missed an opportunity to score big in the power play. Sometimes that
Well,
can go against them.
Arjun Mahesh is going to look to force the action. And even though that first couple deliveries he was relatively defensive, I don't expect for him to sit still and have them bowl at him. So when he gets back on strike, look to see him be a little bit more enterprising. This is punched into the offside to extra cover. Look for a quick single and they get it without much fuss. But I think you're exactly right. The 33 runs with 3 balls remaining in the power play, to me, feels undercooked. And there was a fair amount of enterprising coming from the bat of Arjun Mahesh, particularly when Ryan Bagani was bowling. But overall, they're almost in second gear when you get the sense that they could be pressing down a little bit more than that. There's that line again, outside the line of off, a wave and a miss by Arjun Mahesh.
Yeah, if you take away a couple of bad deliveries from Ryan Bagani, this has been a splendid start with the ball for the Katy Riders after having won the toss. On the other hand, the Skywalkers, the biggest advantage they have is they haven't lost a wicket and their entire batting ammunition is intact. This time, just shuffles a little bit across. The ball was also angled towards the leg stump. A little bit of a missed field opportunity for a second, and Arjun does not miss, does he?
Well, capitalize on them. You didn't think that there should have been 2 runs there. Maybe just a touch of pressure. Pressure playing in the finals. Obviously, it's going to be your adrenaline is pumping. You're nervous. You're excited. And so every once in a while, that adds up to a misfield. But 1 ball remaining here in the power play. Still only 35 runs on the board. Watch Arjun Mahesh here. Advancing down the track and almost chops that one on. He's lucky. That could have gone anywhere. But look at that, a dot ball, 35 runs on the board and the end of the power play. At this stage, they're going to be obviously the opportunity to be a lot more defensive in the field, the Katy Raiders. And I don't think, if you were scoring a boxing match, you and I are old enough that we used to sit and watch boxing matches. If you're scoring a boxing match, the first several rounds, I think, have gone to the Katy Raiders.
Definitely won the toss. Little bit of a damp outfield to start with, asking the Skywalkers to bat first. Less than a run a ball power play. They'll take it with both hands. Advantage Katy Riders on this big final.
Well, scoring rate of 5.83 is, to me, indicative of brilliant bowling. And even though Ryan Bagani was mistreated just a little bit, I still think that you're on top as a bowling unit if you're only able to concede 35 runs in the power play. Interestingly, 5.83 runs and over projects to a score of 117. I'd have to think that they'd accelerate past that. They have a relatively deep batting lineup, so I'd anticipate that they'd be looking to go much more aggressively. But for me, it's a little bit shocking that they're only at the stage where they are right now. As Abhiram Yeruva, with the ball in hand coming into the attack, the leg spinner outside of the power play now, so you can have a lot more defensive field. And for that defensive field, you're looking at a deep cover, you're looking at long off and long on, and you're looking at deep square leg and deep mid wicket. So much more of a defensive field. Opportunities are there for 1s and 2s, but also it's the case that you don't have as much opportunity for big hitting with the protection in the deep.
I do believe the Raiders have probably missed a trick here. They should have bowled out Sean Jindal the way he was bowling.
That's interesting that you say that. I was thinking the same thing.
Absolutely. Abhiram Yeruva comes to replay Sean Jindal, slightly short of length. It just clears up the batter's mind. He might have been in a doubt if they had seen Sean Jindal come back for the 4th over, bowl brilliantly. I'm not too sure what he's going to do with that 4th over later in the innings. Hopefully he'll come and take a couple of wickets in favor of the Raiders, but a clear miss, I would say.
Well, you certainly had the momentum, and when your bowler is going great guns, sometimes as a captain you want to reward him. Now, you don't want to second guess a captain too much. Maybe you want to keep that one over in your back pocket just in case you need it. Instant replay of the first delivery, another single into the outfield, and the Texas Skywalkers are getting their runs in singles, which I don't think is what they had in mind when they were going to bat first.
Yeah, Abhiram Yeruva not getting his line length yet. Probably his line is okay, but too short. giving enough opportunity for them to. Oh, that's a brilliant comeback there. The third delivery, pitching on off, turning away from the right-hander, unable to go on the back foot this time. Beaten, dot delivered.
Well, that's a good piece of keeping by Pranav Chettipalayam.
Once again, short of length, no damage done though. He's playing from the back foot, predominantly Rishi Ramesh, and I'm seeing enough evidence of the ball keeping low. It's a little dangerous to do that. If one skids through the turf, it's going to be a dead duck there.
Now punched down the ground. Boy. One ball remaining in the seventh. The overall run rate is still only 5.56. Arjun Mahesh is on strike, 19 from 21. And I'm expecting for him to force the issue on this last ball. I'm thinking that. Wants to come down. You could tell he wanted to come down, but only succeeding in punching it in the deep to Ryan Bagani coming off the boundary. So just a single. Amazing bowling continues by the Katy Raiders. At the end of 7, the score is 39 without loss.
Arjun Mahesh batting of 21 deliveries on 19. 20 now with that single, and Rishi Ramesh 17 of 21. So it's a great start for
So a bit of a break in the action. 39 without loss after 7. Once again, this is the Turmeric Spring Super Edition HYPL 2023 at the beautiful confines of the Moosa Cricket Stadium in Pearland, Texas. The Katy Raiders, having won the toss, and Captain Arikananta has chosen to bowl. Curious decision for me at first, but it seems to have panned out exactly, maybe even better than the way that he would have thought. This is going to be Darshan Haribabu taking up the attack from the Massey Ranch Road end.
Yeah, the field has been spread out after the power play, and they're holding Shiv Shani clearly back for the death overs, and he's done well during the death overs in the past. So the captain tossing the ball up to Darshan Haribabu and asking Arjun Mahesh and Rishi to try and go over the top. He's got the field. As long as he bowls to his plan, it's going to be an interesting contest.
Off the back foot, defending for no run. Boy, I have to say, I am mystified that the score is as low as it is. And I'm expecting for them to be a little bit more enterprising. I've said that a few times. And the pressure continues to build as Arjun Mahesh cannot get that ball past Darshan Haribabu, who does well to field to his own bowling.
Yeah, the outfield is huge, so Arjun Mahesh probably not wanting to go aerial yet. He's trying to come down and...
there he goes, over extra cover. A couple of bounces, but good work in the deep. And that should only just be 2 runs. That is good work. The fielder sprinting across to his left from long off and preventing that boundary.
Very good cricket all round. Darshan Haribabu not afraid, tossing it up, asking Arjun Mahesh to continue to come down. Does come down and hit the gap, but brilliant fielding. Just 2 runs conceded.
And now he looks to play the late cut. Drops it into the offside for a single. But just 2 balls remaining here. 3 runs already from the over.
Yeah, this is excellent bowling from Darshan Haribabu. Rishi Ramesh, little more powerful striker between the two from what I've seen of the two. Arjun more of a tricky player. He picks the gaps and hits the ball. Rishi Ramesh slightly more powerful and strongly built. Will Arjun Mahesh push for 2? No, not really. He doesn't want to take the arm of the outfielder there.
So just 1 ball remaining here in the 8th. And after this one ball, Svetan, we're going to have a surprise interview. This is struck down the ground, and it's going to be a single. Oh, a fumble there results in an additional run. So 2 runs coming from that over. At the end of 8, the score is 45 without loss. And once again, the surprise I mentioned is that, let's just say, an alumnus of the HYPL is joining us on the line from Germany. Good morning. Well, I guess for you, good afternoon, Pratir.
Good afternoon. You guys hear me all right?
We can. How are you doing?
What's the word for it? Freezing? Unfortunately.
Freezing. So, Pratir, I'll be interested in hearing your thoughts as an alumnus of the HYPL and as somebody who you want me to think that you're a cricketer, but I think of you more as an announcer. Tell me your thoughts about what the last several days have been like for you being able to watch from Germany.
I mean, honestly, it's been a blessing. Thankfully, after moving here with technology improving so much, I can basically watch whatever I want. I'm not isolated from basically any cricket. And the time difference has actually worked out in a positive sense that I can watch all the games from all parts of the world at a normal time.
So, your thoughts, once again, you know the players, you've played with and against many of these players. Just what are your thoughts about the individual performances that you've seen so far, and then maybe a word or two about what you think the result of this match is going to be?
Honestly, this weekend I feel the Moosa wicket has been better, much better for run scoring. We obviously saw Brian Ghani being an element batting. And I mean, there have been multiple performances from players which we haven't seen before, like the likes of Rishi Ramesh, we haven't seen in IPL before until this season. We saw the Trump brothers both. We know how destructive they are, and just proved that time and time again.
So, we just saw a bit of a fumble that results in the first 4 in several overs, and with that 4, the 50 comes up. Pratir, tell us a little bit about the cricket scene in Germany, such as it is. Are you able to play? You said you're able to watch at any time that you want, or at least the TV schedule is more conducive to your schedule, but are you able to play at all there?
So I moved in just the end of August. After that, there was one tournament which I could not take part of. But after that, it's all been indoor cricket. Indoor cricket in the sense that with a synthetic ball in a basketball court, 6-a-side, 10-over games, and the outdoor season is yet to start. So we're kind of just waiting. I believe there's almost about a month and a half till the outdoor season starts here. And while the levels are not necessarily as good as they are in the US, there still is cricket here, and there's multiple grounds.
So we're talking youth leagues, or we're talking adult leagues? What's the setup?
Uh,
Can't hear you loud enough.
Okay, so Pratir, we're having a bit of difficulty with the audio. Um, in fact, maybe we can try and sort of straighten that out, and we'll come back to Pratir in a little bit, because things are actually starting to heat up a little bit on the field of play. Score is now 56 without loss, 56 after 9. So a little bit of excitement. A couple of boundaries were struck while we're on the air with our good friend Pratir Mehta. And overall, I think, as I said earlier, they were in second gear, the Texas Skywalkers. It looks as though they're putting their foot down on the gas a little bit and trying to get through what I think was a very undercooked start for them.
Yes, definitely. While things have started making a move here at the Moosa cricket ground, it's rather catapulted towards the heavens at the other ground. The challenges at the end of 13 overs, 149 without any wickets lost. Joshua Trump, 108 of 52 deliveries with 13 boundaries and 4 sixes. Decides to wake up this morning and say, this is how I probably should have played the entire tournament.
Wow. So in that other field, it's Trump versus Trump. In this field, it's Bagani versus Bagani. So a couple of pairs of brothers duking it out for both the championship and for the third place match.
Yep, a couple of biological brothers in 22 on this field, improving brotherhood day by day. Wonderful sport of cricket. Another brother just joined us from Germany. So we have international audience for the sport. Pratir Mehta, a wonderful player over the years for Houston Premier League, Houston Youth Premier League and everything. We miss you, brother. So Darshan this time goes short. On the back foot goes Rishi Ramesh, pulls it deep towards the mid-wicket region. And Saharsh there fumbles a little bit, allowing both these batters to come back for easy second run.
So you can hear the audience outside, the supporters for the Skywalkers, starting to get animated because they feel that there is a little bit of a change in the momentum. Rishi Ramesh and Arjun Mahesh have both been there now for a very long time. Rishi Ramesh at 25, make that 27 from 29, and Arjun Mahesh 31 from 30. So both of them striking it right around or maybe just under 100 strike rates. Oh my goodness, this is going to be the first wicket. Well down the wicket. It appeared to have been a stumping, but what is the call?
Yeah, Pranav Chettipalam actually missed collecting the ball clean, and it ricocheted off his glove. And by the time he was able to pick it up and break the stumps, Rishi Ramesh was able to easily make his way back. So that's a costly miss.
Wow, that is a huge miss. I'll tell you what. And so for you youngsters, you look that ball right into the glove before you attempt the stumping, because he was gone for all money. Rishi Ramesh, he was 3 yards down the pitch, but ended up being able to get back to safety because of the lack of collection by the keeper himself, Chettipalam. Now knocked down the ground for a single. So all of a sudden, a lot happening. That is the end of the 10th over. At the end of 10, the score is 6-1 without loss.
Yeah, the score's now just gone past a little over a run a ball for the first time. And in the last couple of overs, the pendulum clearly starting to swing in favor of the Skywalkers. A very, very costly miss there. A few, misfields resulting in a couple of extra runs being taken. Powerful legs, both Rishi Ramesh and Arjun Mahesh. They'll just pull up their socks here, the Raiders, a little bit, and start to think about the opportunities of grabbing more wickets and continuing a fair job that they've done so far. Abhiram Irwa looks like he's going to continue from the far end, bowling his third over. He's bowled pretty decently. Couple of misfields cost him some runs. Also, the Katy Riders.
Well, 6-1 without loss after 10 overs. Obviously projects to a score of 122. Just looking at some potential projected scores. If they score from here at the rate of 8 and over, they get to 141, which I think is very, very doable. If they extend themselves a little bit and score at the rate of 10 runs and over, that gets them to 161. I think they'd be satisfied with 161. I don't think they'd be satisfied with anything under 140.
Abhiram Irwa flighting that one, and Rishi Ramesh leans into that one, drives straight to the fielder. I think it's important for the Skywalkers to be realistic and not get very greedy. I've seen signs of the ball keeping low every now and then. Definitely anything above 150 in a big final will be a good score. Going over the top, but there is protection at long off, just a couple of bounces, and that's only 1 run taken. So just going back to the point, I think anything above 150 will have a good psychological advantage, will provide a good psychological advantage to the Skywalkers, I think.
I said it earlier. It's much more difficult to chase in a final because of scoreboard pressure. So 150 in a group stages match feels like 180 in the finals. I said that backwards, but hopefully you know what I mean. 150 in the finals would feel more like 180 in the group stages match. As this ball, I think you see more evidence of what you mentioned, Shwetan, staying a little bit low and worked down to long on by Arjun Mahesh.
Absolutely. No big boundaries coming so far in this over. Abhiram Yeru has bowled half of this over without a boundary, and he'll be looking to get a wicket. They need a wicket.
Off the back foot, that is well played. Through backward point, it's going to get close to the boundary and just get across now. It goes for 4. That is good work. That really is a good placed shot by Rishi Ramesh, piercing those 2 fielders behind square on the offside. And the ball races across to the boundary and eventually wins the race for 4.
Excellent shot there, rocking back quickly and cutting it backward of point. It was a small gap, but he picked it beautifully. It was a big teaser for almost 3 of them running towards it. Nobody able to get it inside the field. Wonderful shot.
So that run rate now north of 6. For a while it was well under 5. It's now 6.28 with 2 balls to go here in the 11th. Tossed up. Rishi Ramesh driving down the ground for a single. So tell me if you've heard this one before, Shwetan. Double the score after 12 overs and it gets you to your total.
Yeah, I think the important factor is wickets in hand, which they have every single wicket in hand.
Oh my goodness, yes.
The Texas Skywalkers, they haven't lost any. So they'll definitely be looking to double. That's definitely on the cards. If these two can play for a little while, they'll probably be looking at 170.
Last delivery. It should be 2 if they sprint. They're coming back for that second. Strong throw, and that is good work. So good awareness. Get that ball in the gap and run those 2s. So that's another thing that we haven't really emphasized, the fact that you can score heavily just by placing the ball and running hard. So those 2 runs coming from that over, 9, a very productive over for the Texas Skywalkers. The score is 70 without loss. Once again, we have replaced one young man with another. Welcome back to the commentator's booth, Mr. Malpani.
Thank you.
So when you left, there were just a handful of runs on the board. There are a few more runs on the board now, but still nobody out. So the last 9 overs, the last 54 balls are on tap. This first one played into the offside for a single. But in 53 more balls, what are you expecting to happen the rest of the way? How far can the Skywalkers get?
I'm guessing 140, but I'm gonna guess that they're gonna try and accelerate even more now. They've been accelerating from the second over. I think they're gonna try and accelerate any more. But
It gets through on the offside, at least a couple, and in fact, it goes all the way for 4. So the acceleration that you ask for, I think, is about to start happening. I would have to think, with the batting that they have, not to mention that the 2 who are at the crease are well set. Rishi Ramesh now up to 38, make that 35, and Arjun Mahesh 38. I would have to think that they have to put their foot flat down on the gas at this stage.
yes.
I don't think that there's any reason that they have to hold back. And I wonder, in fact, I don't need to wonder. The coach, Sushil Nadkarni, is one that I think emphasizes aggression. And so I expect for them to get aggressive the rest of the way.
Yeah, but they've got to be careful about not losing their wicket in a key stage. Like Rishi Ramesh almost getting out to Darshan. Pranav Chittapayam could not collect it and hit the bails off. But Rishi Ramesh coming back, but he took a real risky chance there.
Short and pulled into the gap. In fact, a fielder coming across from deep mid wicket to prevent that ball from going for the boundary. So just another single. 7 runs from the over so far. Arjun Mahesh now up to 39 from 34 balls faced. Rishi Ramesh 35 from 36 balls faced. Now this is lofted in the air, but not carrying to that fielder, sweeping on the offside. So just a single. I have to say he did not necessarily charge in as hard as he potentially could have to try to take that catch.
Yeah.
But still only just a single.
You can see now after Rishi Ramesh's shot single and Arjun Mahesh's, they're getting a
Bang in the air. Where is this going to go? I think catchable. And he put it down. And not only does he put it down, one of the simpler catches that you'll get in the outfield, it trickles over the ropes for 4. Oh, my goodness. That one is going to sting. They could have broken the partnership. It could have been a first wicket. And not only does he not take the catch, but it then trickles out of his hand and goes over the ropes at long off for 4. So that appears to have been Sean Jindal, who had it judged perfectly, could have taken the catch at chest height, but some reason did not collect that ball. And then not only did he not take the catch, it trickled out of his hand for 4.
I think they're really gonna go for it, but they're taking risky chances. Now that I'm thinking about it, that Shiv Shani half chance, he should have at least tried. Because what if it might have stuck in his hands?
I don't disagree with that. Now 12 runs coming from that over. So look at the overall run rate now sneaking upward, now up to 6.83. And what we said a couple of overs ago, doubling the score after 12 generally gets you in the neighborhood of where the final score will be. The score is now 82. So double that, you get to 164. I think 164 is not only on the cards, I think it would be a disappointment if they didn't get to at least 164. They've gotten a few chances. And then again, both of these batters, really well set. Big hitters to come and only 48 more balls. So I absolutely think with no wickets down, they have to go all out here. They have the batting, and they have the depth, and there's only 48 balls remaining. I don't know how they don't go all out from here.
Yeah, I agree with you. Arya Kananta now bowling.
Oh, firing one down the leg side. The captain wanting to take the bull by the horns. He's obviously known much more as a batter, but surprised a lot of us with his bowling acumen earlier in the tournament. Now looking to see if he can play the role of partnership breaker. This ball is just punched down the ground for a single.
He's gonna try and at least set them up, try to get the wicket, because these two batsmen, if they keep on batting longer, it might break Katy Raiders. It might just end it, because if these two batsmen keep on going, 170 is also reachable.
I completely agree with you. Smashed through that fielder at mid-wicket off his hand. It wasn't a catch. It was hit on the ground, but good running between the wickets, and they get another couple. So the captain bringing himself on, again in the role of partnership breaker. The ball was hit pretty firmly and deflected by that fielder short mid-wicket. And coming off the fence to do the cleanup work was that fielder at deep mid-wicket, but still 2 more runs to the total. So, yeah, definitely a sense of urgency being shown by these two. Rishi Ramesh now up to 42. Now just punching it down the ground off of the hand of the bowler and captain, Arya Kananta, for a single.
Arya Kananta, I think he would be a little disappointed on how some of these catches were dropped, especially the one by Sean Jindal. Right there in his hands, just trickled away. Rishi Ramesh could have been one important wicket for this breakthrough.
That would have been a big one. But again, as the innings is compressed and as you have fewer and fewer balls left, 44 balls remaining after that last single, I think you're going to see where these two are going to continue to be more aggressive. So even if a wicket falls and this is forced into the outfield for a single, I think the batters who are coming in afterwards are going to play with a certain amount of freedom. Specifically, I'm thinking that you might see Sachin Selvakumar, who comes in next, at least that's my guess, and he is a big hitter. He can hit a good long ball. So I'm anticipating that aggression to continue. That's going to be wide outside off.
For me, think I think Aryan Satish and Rahul Basu. Rahul Basu one down and Aryan Satish two down. Aryan Satish can hit a long ball as well as Sachin Savakumar, but putting him in has a risk of his hairline fracture.
Which is why I don't think he's going to come in next. So that's a single down to long on. 8 runs coming from, make that 9 runs coming from that over. At the end of 13, the score is 91 without loss.
As you can see from the Skywalkers locker room or outside, I see Rahul Basu and Aryan Satish padded up. So my guess is that Rahul Basu will come in next, and Aryan Satish after Rahul Basu, or maybe even Rishi Ramesh or Arjun Mahesh. One of them gets out, Rahul Basu, and then the other pair, Aryan Satish is going to come and hit the long ball and going to accelerate if he even comes in.
Once again, this is the Turmeric Spring Super Edition HYPL 2023. We are 13 overs into this match. 13 overs into the innings for the Texas Skywalkers, who were asked to bat by the Katy Raiders. And this is going to be Darshan Haribabu, who's bowled 3 overs so far for 23 runs. Of course, no wickets. And bowling now to Arjun Mahesh. In the air, not going to be catchable. Long on with some work to do. Good pickup. That is good work. That is the captain himself, I believe. Arya Kanantha coming across, setting the example, leading from the front to make sure that only 1 run was conceded there.
Arya Kanantha taking on his team, taking his team with him, but his team also has to do some work as well. Arya Kanantha just can't do it all with him and Ryan Bagani.
Oh, another fumble in the outfield. Well, that was the opposite of what Arya Kanantha just showed. Pretty straightforward ball that was hit directly to that sweeper on the offside. Went through his legs and they come back for a second.
Yeah, Arya Kanantha just can't keep the team with him and Ryan. All the others have to pitch in as well with the fielding, with the bowling, with the batting as well.
Oh, bowled him. That is the first wicket. Darshan Haribabu finally with the breakthrough for the Katy Raiders. Almost like Rishi Ramesh yorked himself, went too far forward and not able to get the bat down in time. I believe that might have just squirted off the inside edge and onto the stump. So the first wicket goes down. Rishi Ramesh is bowled by Darshan Haribabu for 46 rather. And the score is now 94 for 1.
Rahul Basu coming in next. That was a great ball by Darshan. Should have got him earlier. Not his fault. Not Pranav Chittapalyam's either. Just a little excited by the moment, I'm guessing. But that was a big breakthrough. A big breakthrough for the Katy Raiders. Let's see how the Katy Raiders will now play once Rishi Ramesh is out. Will Arjun be more impatient because his fast partner is gone, or will he slow down with Rahul Basu?
I don't think he's going to slow down. I think he may be just a little circumspect. But once again, even though a wicket has fallen, you're still talking about only 39 balls remaining for the rest of the entire innings. And 9 wickets are in hand. Even though that first one has already been lost, I think 9 wickets in hand with 39 balls remaining tells me that there's not going to be much deceleration. I think you're still going to remain aggressive, and I think a long way to go for the Katy Raiders. Okay, so getting back to the action here on the field, the new batter is Rahul Basu, and we're joined here in the commentary area by yet another youngster. Introduce yourself to everyone.
Hi, my name's Kabir Saluja.
Kabir, I'll talk to you in just a minute after this next delivery. Lofted in the air toward extra cover. That's going to be 4. Goes all the way across the ropes. Good looking shot. That is Arjun Mahesh, who is now up to 48 from 40. And 1 ball remaining here in the 13th. Kabir, introduce yourself and tell everybody what your experiences with cricket.
I feel on the Arjun Mahesh is playing very good here on the top, playing very safe shots, have no risk here.
Okay, so the last ball coming up the 13th over. Make that the 14th over. Full toss, and it's punched down to deep mid-wicket. Do they want 2? They do, but they're not going to be able to get it. Good, strong throw coming from the outfield. So that's a single that brings up the 100. So 100 on the board in 14 overs. The last 6 will be coming up. I think you're going to see a very exciting close to this innings. So, Kabir, once again, tell us about you yourself as a cricketer and what have you been able to do so far, and then talk about a little bit about this match.
My role as a cricketer is a keeper batsman. My name's Kabir Saluja, and I think the match Rishi and Arjun have put up a very good set as openers. Or I think Arjun might go to the end, and Rahul Basu will continue on with it.
So that is now 100 for 1. Arjun Mahesh 49 from 41, and then Rahul Basu 1 from 1. So the last 6 overs, the last 36 balls are going to be bowled, 9 wickets in hand. I would have to think that you would see a very aggressive approach here from the Texas Skywalkers. So this is Arikanantha continuing short, and that's a lovely looking late cut. Arjun Mahesh with a lovely shot, and then all of a sudden not picked up cleanly by the fielder, short third, and therefore Arjun Mahesh gets through to his 50. An enterprising innings to start with, slowed down in the middle, but gets 2 important runs here to put his team on top, at least as it relates to the way that they've approached the game for the last few overs. What do you think about Arjun Mahesh's innings so far, Kabir?
I think Arjun Mahesh has played very safe and calmed innings, very mature innings too.
So the captain himself, Arikanantha, 1.1 overs, now bowled 7 balls and none for 11. Not a front line bowler by any stretch of the imagination, but looking to just keep things quiet. Very full down the leg side. That's going to be wide, and it's going to be more than just a wide. In fact, it may be 5 wides. Stop by the foot of Sohan Matam on the boundary. That's got to be 4. No signal yet from the umpire, but we're looking to see what the signal is. It's at least, there's a signal. 4 plus the wide, so 5 wides to the total. 5 free runs developed here from the captain, firing one down the leg side. And unfortunately for the Katy Raiders, that's not what you wanted to have in mind as a captain when you brought yourself into bowl.
Yeah, I think Arikanantha should just keep it flat on the wicket how he was bowling, and then he was bowling good until that ball.
And that ball stays low, and it's punched down the ground to deep mid-wicket. That's all they'll get is a single. But an expensive over. 3 balls, really 2 legal deliveries bowled so far. 8 from the over with another 4 to go. So you're looking now at a hitter, Rahul Basu, who can hit long. He does have the power aspect to his game. And once again, we're only 34 balls away from this being the end of the innings. And he's stroking this down the ground. That is Ryan Bagani coming off the fence at long on to make sure that he cleans up.
Good batting by Rahul Basu. Just Arjun Mahesh and him using the long off, long on tactics just for ones. I think later in the innings, Arjun will for those deep fielders, he's gonna start taking maybe twos as he was doing in the beginning.
Okay, so that's knocked down the ground using the long on, long off tactic, as you mentioned. And that is just a single. 10 from the over with 2 to come. Rahul Basu, 2 from 2. And again, in that mid-wicket area, they have to come back for 2. No, they changed their minds. That's a good, strong throw from Daniel Bagani. Make that Ryan Bagani, I'm sorry. And just 1 ball remaining now in the 15th. We're at the back end of the innings. Just the last 5 overs and 1 ball to come. And look at this. What an effort. What an absolutely brilliant effort. Lovely return catch. Struck back firmly. He knocks it up in the air and catches it on the rebound. What a catch.
What a catch by Aryankananta. Great effort. Arjun Mahesh trying to loft it over the ground as Joy Jadhav comes in. I think Arjun Mahesh has played a spectacular innings.
So that is the end of the 15th. What a brilliant catch to end things here in the 15th. 11 runs coming from it, but the captain himself uses every bit of skill to not only keep that ball from getting by him, but then to complete what I think is a spectacular catch. So 111 for 2 after 15. The last 5 are coming up. Switch this on to talk. After you're talking, switch it back on. So let him sit here.
After the server, we're switching. Want to switch after the over? Yeah.
That's your scoreboard. Scorecard, rather.
Now there's 2 non-set batsmen in. And that catch was spectacular. It was like he jumped up, and then while he's on the ground, he figures out where the ball is.
Take a bit of time because it's the strategic timeout.
Skywalkers still have like a lot of batting.
I know,
They
but
have good hitters.
Sachin is still there. Aryan Satish is still there, but he has a hairline fracture, so if he gets hit, he's done. Sachin Sabakumar, we all know who he is. He's really good. But
Aryan Satish has been playing good even with the.
I know. We're gonna come back after the over.
So welcome back to the Moosa Cricket Stadium in Pearland. We're at the back end of the strategic timeout here ahead of the last 5 overs. And I think the very last bit of action that we saw was a spectacular return catch. Kabir, walk us through what we just saw.
Yeah, Arjun Mahesh just gone. That's a crucial wicket, huge wicket for the Skywalker, for Katy Raiders. I mean, very good catch by Aryankananta. Very calm, very calmly bowled. Like he's been patient in the bowling, keeping it flat on this wicket. He's done very good in bowling.
Well, we said earlier that the captain is known more as a batter than as a bowler. But he has bowled well in this tournament the times that we've seen him bowl. And even though in this last over, he fired one down the leg side and gave up 5 additional runs, 5 wides, he still only conceded 11 runs and took a wicket. So that's certainly, you'll give up 11 runs as a bowler if you know that at the end of that over you're going to take a wicket. That translates to, a score of 110 if you do the math. So on balance, I think the momentum has swung back slightly in favor of the Katy Raiders with the 2 batters at the crease now, Joy Jadhav and Rahul Basu, both relatively new. Joy Jadhav yet to face a ball, and Rahul Basu only having faced 3 and scored 3 runs. So in the last 5 overs, you'd prefer to have gone into that last 5 with a set batter at the crease, but that's not the case. So here we go again. This delivery outside the line of off. This is going to be Shiv Shani. In fact, my apologies. That's Aryan Patel who's bowling right arm over, bowling now to Rahul Basu. Short of a length and pulled to deep mid wicket. They have to run hard for 2 here. No, they don't. So just a single, and you'll accept singles at this stage of the innings if you're the Katy Raiders.
Yeah, Katy Raiders they would easily take singles. I mean, their batting can easily take singles, just tuck there. But I think Skywalkers are looking to hit in these last 5.
Looking to wave at this one outside off, not making any contact. So a very precious dot ball. 3 balls bowled in the 15th, and just 1 run coming in the 16th rather, and just 1 run coming from it so far.
Yeah, it's very good bowling by Aryan Patel. Joy Jadhav looking to swing at some of them.
Struck down the ground. That may have just flicked the boot of Aryan Patel on the way through, but Ryan Bagani is down at long off to make sure that the only thing that happens is that a single is scored. So the wheels have come off. Maybe the wheels haven't quite come off, but the momentum certainly has been taken out of what had been a very aggressive passage of play for the Skywalkers. Aryan Patel looking to close out this over, and he knocks him over. Looking to play that one, Rahul Basu, looking to play it to mid-wicket. Going completely across the line. Should have been keeping that in the V. And he loses his off stump playing across the line. The 3rd wicket goes down. The score is 113 for 3.
I think Basu should have taken a little more 5-6 balls to get settled in. Then he should have went for it, but I think he went for it too early.
Well, I don't mind him being aggressive because before he got out, there's still 8 wickets in hand, and certainly with 26 balls to go, there is a justification for being aggressive. But you can be aggressive without playing across the line. And I think you still have to stick to normal cricket principles. And the reality is that if you play across a straight ball, more often than not, you're going to be out. So just 1 ball remaining now. And the new batter is the captain himself, is it? Aryan Satish. Okay, so we spoke about the fact that he has a hairline fracture on his finger. I'm actually very surprised that somebody like Sachin Selvakumar has not yet come in. But the captain wants to take the bull by the horns. 1 ball remaining here in the 16th over, being bowled by Aryan Patel. This is Aryan to Aryan, and this is played into the offside for a single. So 1 to end things in the 16th. At the end of 16, the score is 114 for 3. And for right now, we say goodbye to Kabir and welcome back in the commentator's booth to Ishan. Good afternoon, Ishan.
Good afternoon, or good morning, actually.
I lose track of the time sometimes. Thank you for catching me. By the way, and I have not said this entire weekend, but I'd like to say it now. There are 43 people currently watching on YouTube. If you have anything to say or to add or to ask or to submit, please feel free to get into the commentary or the comment section and leave a comment or two or five, whatever you'd like to, because we love getting input from you. For example, Mr. Abhinav Singh says, great coverage. Thanks. Good commentary. Thank you very much, Abhinav. We try our best. And really, we just get to watch a cricket match and talk about it. So it's relatively straightforward. And more than anything else, we like involving as many of these young kids who are able to do it as possible. So bowling now is going to be coming from the Pearland end, and it's going to be Sean Jindal, who bowled a brilliant spell up front, 3 overs, none for 8, opening the bowling. He's now coming back in and bowling his last over, bowling to the captain, Aryan Satish. And this is just worked into the offside for a single.
These two are teammates, in fact. Play at the same club. Aryan Satish, a good batsman. If he gets hit on his finger, he might have to be out. Sean Jindal having precise line and length like that. Just Aryan freeing up his arms and hitting it straight to extra cover.
That's a good looking stroke, getting it through to extra cover. Aryan Satish has a pretty big job here because it's his role to guide the team towards the back end. He's just now come in, only having faced 3 balls so far, and he's going to need to sort of maintain the same acceleration that was there before. Slower through the air and just dropped into the offside for a single. Okay, so a few comments are coming in, and all of a sudden it's a love fest because both Vishal Shah and Satish Shanmugam say that they love me, which is a good thing. Love you all too. And of course, Satish Shanmugam is the father of the captain who's now at the wicket, Aryan Satish.
And Shreyan Satish.
Absolutely, Shreyan Satish as well. Shreyan jumped on commentary with us yesterday. Short delivery and work behind square. It is going to run away for at least 2. The captain coming back. Do they dare go for 3? He's putting his head down and coming back for 3. That is excellent running, good sense of urgency, and credit Joy Jadav with that 3rd run because he immediately planted his bat behind the crease at the striker's end and at the non-striker's end, and immediately took off running for that 3rd one. Absolutely love to see that urgency. So 3 more runs to the total there. I tell you, that's the kind of urgency that they need going into the back end of this innings.
This is great calling from both Joy Jadav and Aryan Satish. Ooh, that's a close one. Just trying to be a little risky there, trying to take those quick singles because right now they're at 119 in 17 overs for 3.
119 for 3 and 17. So the last 18 overs, the last 18 balls, there's 7 wickets in hand. The last 5 overs have yielded 37 runs. So you're scoring in the last 5 overs at a fair clip. You're above a run a ball. But if you wanted to target something around the 140 mark that we talked about earlier, you'd have to score at 8 runs and over. If you wanted to get to 150, 10 runs and over gets you to 149. So that's sort of where you need to be looking right now. And this is going to be Aryan Patel bowling again now to Aryan Satish. Gets this down to long on. Just a single, I think. Yeah, not nowhere that you can run for 2 for that one.
I think Skywalkers would be disappointed after the start they had that they won't get at least to the 145 mark. Because after the start they had with Rishi Ramesh and Arjun Mahesh, 145 was doable, but after both of them got out, they slowed down and Rahul Basu got out.
Played 2 extra cover for no run. And Hemant Patel also pointing out that 1 more pair of brothers in this match, Aryan and Yash Patel. By the way, Hemant, thank you for pointing that out. I don't live in the area, and I know many of these boys, but I don't know all of them. Slower delivery, full outside off. It lands off of the pitch and therefore signaled a no ball by umpire Mahisania. So we've seen several different types of no balls. Sometimes these matches can be a bit of an educational experience. A ball that lands off of the pitch, landing in the grass, is not. It used to be wide. It's now a no ball. So here's the free hit delivery. Big swipe and a miss by Joy Jadav. In fact, it just comes off the outside edge and trickles to third man for a single.
Joy Jadav, one of the biggest hitters there is on that team. He can hit the ball long and hard, just like Sachin Selvakumar, and just like and Aryan Satish, but hasn't connected the ball properly yet.
Aryan Satish now dropping it to backward point and running through for a single. So they're doing it in ones and twos. You don't mind that if you are the Katy Raiders, because what you're trying to do is just to limit the big shots. And at this stage, we're only looking at the last 14 balls in this innings. So if you are the Skywalkers, you have to think big. How am I going to manufacture additional runs? That's a swipe across the line. Joy Jadav looking to score in that mid-wicket area, but that ball is too far outside off stump.
Joy Jadav not really able to connect it, really. Trying to hit a ball long and hard and swiping it over, but really just can't connect it, and is trying to give strike to Aryan now, I'm guessing.
Knocked him over late on that shot, looking big, looking to hit it towards long on, but just completely beaten for pace. And I'm not sure why, because that wasn't necessarily a very quick delivery, but he just appeared to be late on the shot. That ball sneaks through and knocks back the off stump, and all of a sudden, the score is 123 for 4. There's only, in fact, this is the last ball of the 18th over. That is the end of the over. And at the end of the over, the score is 123 for 4.
Now Sachin Selvakumar comes in. Joy Jadav hasn't really been connecting it, and Aryan Patel doing good to dismiss him back to the locker rooms. But Sachin Selvakumar and now Aryan Satish, both of these guys are big hitters, right? So I'm guessing Sachin Selvakumar is going to take the role of hitting it outside the park and getting them to at least the 145 mark.
Look, it's easy to sit here in the commentator's booth and second guess, right? The very nature of our job is to second guess. But I was calling for Sachin Selvakumar probably to be the one to come in at the fall of the first wicket. Because given the fact that the innings was sort of motoring along, they were in third gear, trying to shift into fourth, but the best way to inject some sort of impetus into the innings would have been to put in somebody like a Sachin Selvakumar to hit big. If you promote him as a pinch hitter and it doesn't work, let's say he goes, faces 5 balls, scores 8 runs, and then gets out, then you still have the others coming in behind him. But I really do think that should have been an opportunity for you to have promoted him. Now here we go. This is going to be Shivshani bowling the 19th over.
But I mean, both of us are not thinking Sachin Selvakumar is going to go for it, while Aryan Satish is just going to let Sachin do it and give him strike, because if he gets hit, he's out, like we said multiple times. So I'm guessing Aryan wants to play it safe and give strike to Sachin.
Well, we'll see what happens here. There's 12 balls remaining. We're about to have the 19th over bowled. Again, Shivshani. Swipe and a miss. Aryan Satish looking maybe a little too aggressive and losing his shape just a little bit, falling forward after he played that shot. Pratir Mehta, after having had his stint on commentary on WhatsApp, wants to jump in and say that we are back in the prediction business. Well, it's kind of pointless to give a predicted score at this point, Pratir. I'll get back to that in just a second. Here's Shivshani again. Flicked in the air. That's going to land in no man's land. They have to get 2 here, and they'll get 2 very easily. And so back to Pratir. what would the score be if the Skywalkers score a running ball for the remaining deliveries? Look, you have a calculator, you have a brain. I'm not going to do your work for your patir. Look,
Uh,
I know you. You are a really, really smart guy. You don't need me to do that math for you. And this is struck down the ground. It's straight enough, but that's good work at long off. Look at that. What a beautiful piece of fielding. Sprinting across.
from Sean Jindal. Sachin Selvakumar now getting on strike. Aryan Satish, I think we just misjudged him. I think he's now going to go for the big shots as well. Because last 2 overs, I think both of them now have to go for the big shots.
Well, there's only 8 balls remaining, so I'll make that 9 balls remaining. So, yeah, you certainly expect that will be the case. That's going to be a wide. That does not help things for the Katy Raiders. You don't want to give up extra balls or extra runs.
That's just a little wide from Shiv Shani, giving him enough room. Sachin Selvakumar capitalized on it. That could have been 4.
Well, you're absolutely right, because there's nobody in the deep behind point. There's 2 fielders stationed behind point, but had that ball gotten between them, it certainly could have run away for 4. And this is stroked down the ground. It's going to be a single. So
Looks
the
like
last 8 deliveries, 128 for 4. This feels like it's going to be a 140 kind of a score. Let's see if they can get any further than that, the Skywalkers.
like we were talking about, the 145 mark is slowly starting to go down because how many balls are remaining. Ooh, he's being a little aggressive here.
Looking to skip down the wicket, looking for a big drive. And Aryan Satish looking very quizzically at umpire Sujit Gupta. But I think he wanted to have that signal as a wide. I don't think there's any way that would have been a wide. Certainly inside, from what we can see, inside the line, the guideline that the umpires used to make that decision. And so this is the last ball of the 19th over. In the air, well struck. Oh, dropped at long off. It was struck very well, and it looked as though the fielder had it judged, had it covered. Had to jump at the last second, but I think he'll tell you 100 times out of 100 he probably should have taken that catch. So it does count as a drop, and 7 runs coming from the over when it could have been 5 runs and a wicket. That is the end of 19. The score is 130 for 4.
To be honest, jumping at the last second, not moving your head around, bad decision, but you have to do what you have to do to stop the 6.
Well, he certainly stopped the 6, I think. Had that gone through untouched, I think it would have gone for 6. But after having stopped it from going for 6, I think he also potentially could have taken that catch. And we're a little far away from the action here, so we don't see exactly how close he was to the rope. But I would think had he been back, if there, if there was any room to go back, he could have taken that relatively easily without having to jump. But once again, it's easy for us to second guess while we're sitting here in a nice air-conditioned booth. And the ones on the field are the ones in the middle of the action. So the last over coming up now, it will be bowled by Aryan Patel, who's bowled very well so far. 2 for 6 from his 2 overs. Brilliant bowling so far. And he'll be bowling to Sachin Selvakumar. Working it to mid-wicket. They have to sprint for 2. No, they don't. The captain immediately puts his hand up and says, I want some of this. So, last 5 balls to go in the innings. Once again, this is the finals championship match in the Turmeric Spring Super Edition HYPL 2023. Aryan Patel right now bowling to the captain himself. Slower delivery, lofted down toward mid-off. That's a good stop and a good pickup. I'll tell you what, this is good bowling. So 2 balls and 2 singles so far.
They're not even close to the 145 mark. They might be close to the 140 mark, but 135 and through 139 seems more reasonable because they're not going for nothing.
Flick towards mid-wicket for 1. God, I have to come back for 2. And there's that throw coming into the non-striker's end. Did not get, in fact, it was backed up appropriately, so they only get 2. So the last
They're-
3 balls coming up. 4 runs already from the last over, and the score is 134.
They're not even going for the shots. Like Sachin Selvakumar, we thought he was gonna hit. Not even hitting. He's just flicking it through the gaps.
Flicking it through the gaps is not a bad thing if you can run 2s, but I really did think that they'd be hitting big, yes. And looking big, that goes off the inside edge down toward fine leg. They'll get at least 2. Does it go all the way for 4? No. But they'll come back for 3. And that's good running. All of a sudden, they're closer to that 140 mark. 137 with 2 balls remaining. 7 runs already from the over. Aryan Satish 13 from 13. And Sachin Selvakumar 4 from 3. And this is Aryan Satish himself on strike. Once again, the battle of Aryan versus Aryan. Short and played toward mid-wicket. I would have to think they'd run for 2 here. Oh, throw coming into the non-strikers and Sachin Selvakumar. Almost said Sachin Tendulkar. Was a little slow off the mark, but it was a wayward throw, so he got home without much trouble. So now the last ball, 139 for 4, 1 ball to come.
Can they even make it to 145 mark? Because 6 could do it.
6 gets them there. Let's see what happens on this last ball. Lofted in the air. That's not going to be a 6. They'll get 2. Coming back for the second now. Good strong throw. And again, not connected or not collected by the keeper. That is Chetapalliam. And all of a sudden, Pranav Chetapalliam. 2 runs from that last ball, which means that the last ball yielding 2 runs gets them to 141 for 4. The Katy Raiders, in order to win the championship, will have to score 142 runs.
For them, that's very doable with that Ryan Bagani and Pranav Chetapalliam attack. Ryan Bagani and Pranav Chetapalliam not having a good day in the field. And Ryan Bagani not having a good day bowling either. Let's see when he's batting. Let's see what his power can do.
That's interesting. And I said yesterday that if you affect the game in 2 different ways as an all-rounder, if you fail in one aspect of your game, then that only motivates you to excel in the other aspects. So just a quick look at the overall scorecard. Dominated at the top by Arjun Mahesh, 53 from 45. And Rishi Ramesh, 46 from 43. Those 2 with a very big partnership up front, but you always felt that they could have accelerated a little bit more based on how the innings turned out. Then a couple of single-digit scores. Rahul Basu, 4 from 6, and Joy Jadav, 2 from 9. Aryan Satish, the captain, coming in at the end, 17 from 15. And Sachin Tendulkar. Sachin Selvakumar. 7 from 4. But runs on the board is runs on the board. And runs on the board in the final creates pressure. So we'll see exactly what happens from here. We'll take a break for about 15 minutes and then come back with the chase. For now, we're signing off from the Moosa Cricket Stadium in Pearland, Texas. We'll be back for the chase at about 11:30. Go to the scorecard and let's see the challenges innings. Holy crap!
Look at the score.
181 from 81 balls, 22 fours and 8 sixes.
And then look at
181 from 81 balls. This is Josh Trump. 22 fours and 8 sixes.
And then look how much he dispatched the bowlers.
Ajay Prithviraj went for 18 and over.
And Matthew Trump, 33 and 4 overs.
Yeah, but 8.3 is like metronomic compared to the others.
Marate did good.
Yeah. Wow, it's amazing. So we have to talk about that game when we come back.
Looks like
Okay.
Karthik gets his
quick restroom break.
A quick food break if we have any food.
I keep telling you, there's one game. We're not gonna have food. That's between you and him. That has nothing to do with me. time 11:30. Got it. Yep. Correct. Mm-hmm. All right, good luck.
Made it.
Huh?
Made it. So, bro, the uncle was telling me what's the difference between hit, pat, and touch.
Between hit, pat, and touch.
Yes. So he told me this is a touch, this is a pat, and this is a hit. He hit me in the stomach.
I did this to my son. I said, he was maybe your age. And I said, let's play a game. He said, okay. And I said, let's play a game and see who can hit the other the softest. And he hit me like this. And I went, dang, I lose. He was so mad. Dang it, I think I lost. Sorry, baby. It's a stupid game, but it's funny.
Sean, I'm gonna take over, man.
Oh no, no.
Go, man. Go on.
Can I commentate after the
Yeah,
10th
after
over?
some time. Yeah, come.
Okay, after 10th over.
Yeah, we'll take turns.
Yeah, you can do first 10, I'll do last 10.
Last two I will do.
No, last 10 I will do. I'll do the last two over because that's better than last.
I mean, all three.
Go 5-5-5-5. Easier.
Okay.
Meaning,
Or I'll do 5, you do 10, and then I'll do 5.
that's even better.
Okay.
See the scores now again.
Huh?
You see the scores?
Yeah, I did. 39.
I wasn't even looking at that. I'm
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
at the first inning score.
Yeah.
Joshua chomped on fire, dude.
It's not going to be easy. The pitch is rolling. It's just going slow, keeping slow. Did they roll the pitch now between innings?
No.
They didn't.
It's gone.
Not going to be easy. Depends on how they bowl in power play. Hopefully they don't. Yeah, gonna be.
Welcome back to the Moosa Stadium. We're getting set for the chase where the Katy Raiders, after having restricted the Texas Skywalkers to a score that I think was a little bit underdone, 141, have the task of scoring 142 runs to be able to take home the championship in this Turmeric Spring Super Edition HYPL 2023. Brian Walters again with you, and I'm joined here by Mr. Swethan. Swethan, good afternoon. Wait, I keep saying good afternoon. It's still morning. I don't know what their time it is, but how are you?
Thank you, Brian. Yes, it feels like an afternoon because the second innings is about to get underway, and we're so used to always say that the second innings happens in the afternoon. Times have changed. This is the 20-over format, HYPL, sponsored by Turmeric Indian Cuisine and Bar. The Katy Raiders in pursuit of 142 to win this trophy. The last time they played in this tournament, they were finalists, they were favorites, but they missed out, and this time they would definitely want to turn that around.
So, ahead of what should be an exciting run chase, the openers at the crease are now Pranav Chattopadhyay and Ryan Bagani. But before that, let's just touch on what's going on in the third place match between the Challengers and the TCC Kings. Challengers, having batted first, put up the ridiculous total of 240 without loss. And chief destroyer there is Joshua Trump, 181 not out from 81 balls, 22 fours and 8 sixes. Tremendous ball striking by Trump and supported by Darsh Jagan Mohan, 51 from 40 with 4 fours and 2 sixes.
That is some hitting in any format, any kind of cricket. It doesn't matter who you're playing against, which ground you're playing against on. Scoring 181 runs in a T20 game is, speaks volumes of his abilities. Both the Trump brothers have looked in good touch during the entire tournament. Probably didn't click well enough in favor of their teams during the league stages. Both of them playing this third place playoff on the other ground. But all that matters right now is what's going to happen in the next 20 overs in the Moosa Cricket Stadium. Pranav Chattopadhyay is on strike. Both Pranav and Ryan have been in very good form right throughout the tournament, so they will expect them to fire. Their attack has been rewarded during the power play in all their previous games, so they'll, irrespective of what the pitch is doing, they'll be looking to score a lot of runs during power play, I can tell you that.
Absolutely. So we'll open with a bit of spin. Yash Patel is the bowler to take up the bowling from the Pearland end. Yash Patel will be bowling to the imposing figure of wicketkeeper batter Pranav Chattopadhyay.
Yeah, the ball's not been bouncing all that much. So the strategy of spin, they're probably taking a leaf out of the Katy Raiders bowling. They opened the bowling with Jindal, who did an excellent job during the power play. Bowled 3 overs, didn't give much. They'll be hoping Yash to do the same, and Yash is an excellent bowler. We're all in readiness. First ball is about to be delivered. Yash to Pranav.
Pranav, left-hand hitter, power hitter, in fact. He can hit the ball a mile and generally favors the area let's just call it outside of the V. So from extra cover to cow corner, scores heavily in those areas. I think that area over extra cover is where he'll be aiming first of all. So let's see here. Over or around the wicket rather. And just defended to short mid wicket for the first delivery of the innings.
Both these batters, Pranav and Ryan, loves the ball coming onto the bat. They've been hoping for some pace to start their innings with, but that's been taken away straight away. And Yash now goes right arm over the wicket.
So
Gently punched through the covers there. No run taken.
2 balls, 2 dot balls to start out with. The required rate 7.22.
Yeah, as long as the Katy Raiders don't panic and play right through, this is well within their reach.
I have to say, and I'll highlight a match from yesterday. In fact, I'll talk more about it after this delivery. Paddled around the corner. This is going to run away for the first boundary. Just a little too straight. That angle, right arm over the wicket. Needs to get that ball outside the line of off stump. But it was too straight and helped away for the first boundary by Pranav Chetapalyan. So I started saying the chase yesterday for the Katy Raiders, and they have always chosen to bat first. To bowl first. They batted yesterday in a chase. They're chasing around 140 and had it all under control. And then the wheels absolutely came off in the last 7 overs and ended up losing by 2 runs. So that will be in the back of their minds as they go through. This is lofted, catchable, backpedaling. Oh my goodness, he makes a meal of it. A fielder at long off. And it's going to end up costing them 2 runs. Very easily could have, and you argue should have been a wicket.
Absolutely. The fielder at mid-off there, backpedaling. It's a very, very difficult way to catch a ball that's going over your head. Got to turn on your side and try to get yourself under the ball as quickly as possible. He was never going to make that running the way he was running.
I 100% agree with you. I've always said the only sport in which backpedaling is appropriate is if you're a cornerback in NFL football or American football. Backpedaling, going for a catch that is over your head, is almost a certain way for you to lose balance. And you certainly saw that happen there with the fielder running back. In fact, I think that's Daniel Bagani running back from mid-off and stumbling all over that one. I think he would have wanted to have turned around and ran backwards. Had he done that, I think he takes that catch easily.
Absolutely. A costly miss there. Will it prove to be costly for the Skywalkers is to be seen. Yash now for the first time bowling to Ryan Bagani. And,
lofted, launched. That's going to be 6. All the way over mid-wicket for the first 6. And I'll tell you what, those are worrying signs. In fact, it's a 4. My apologies. Off the bat, that almost appeared that it would have been over in the practice nets, but in fact only landing just inside of the boundary rope and going for 4.
Yeah, we just realized that they took 3 runs off that dropped opportunity. The previous delivery puts Ryan Bagani on strike, and off spinner bowling into him. Ryan's always going to try and attack him.
How is there not a deep mid wicket with an off spinner bowling to a righty? And he looks to go in that same direction again. Too far outside the line of off stump, though. Umpire Sujit Gupta raising those arms, and boy, little bit of an expensive over to start here for Yash Patel.
The last ball coming up short of length. He hits it in the air. There's a fielder coming around, unable to get under that one. Definite opportunity for a second due to a little bit of a fumble at the long off boundary. It's the end of over number 1. A very good start for the Katy Raiders. 14 runs on the board.
So 14 without loss. So differing results as compared to when the Skywalkers were batting and the Katy Raiders started with spin. Certainly a different result here where the first over from spin, whereas in the first innings it went for only 1 run. Here it goes for 14. And all of a sudden the required rate of 6.74 started saying a few minutes ago was that it was above 7. It's now 6.7, and if they continue along the same vein, it's going to continue coming down, and that has the ability to sort of take the wind out of the sails of the Skywalkers. So they have work to do here to get this under control.
And the captain throws the ball to Daniel Bagani and says, now bowl to Pranav and get him out somehow. Here's your opportunity for dropping him in the previous over. It really depends on how the junior Bagani thinks right now.
Daniel Bagani, a really good bowler. I'm really interested in seeing what happens if there is an odd number of runs taken. Because then that matchup that would have taken place years and years, maybe in the living room, maybe in the backyard, will play out in front of an ICC certified stadium for the finals. Delivery. Oh, gets through Arjun Mahesh. You'll never see that ever happen. These are going to be buys. No, in fact, it's wides. So apparently goes down the leg side and goes all the way for 5 wides. That ball did not bounce at all and almost rolled by the keeper. But Arjun Mahesh, I think, takes that 100 times out of 100.
Yeah, the occasion sometimes can get to the best, and you saw that happening there. Daniel Bagani still arguing with the umpire for having called it a wide. I agree with Bagani there. I don't think it was too wide outside the off stump. Pranav just let that one go, and it didn't bounce at all. It absolutely did not bounce. Rolled all the way along the carpet for a boundary. 5 runs, 5 free runs they're taken for the Katy Riders. And both Pranav and Bagani will love this because the ball's going to come onto the bat.
Yeah, looking back at our replay here, that did not appear to have been a wide, but of course the umpire is the one who has the final authority. This is lofted down the ground for 4. So Daniel Bagani probably, instead of complaining to the umpire, should have been focusing on the next delivery because that's lofted down the ground for 4. Looking at a replay, I started saying maybe he was a little hard done by because that ball appeared to have crossed inside the wide line. But again, that wide line is simply a guideline, and the umpire's decision is final as far as that's concerned. And if the umpire thinks it's a wide, then you don't necessarily have a defense for that. So having argued at that point with the umpire, I think he might have just mentally checked out for the next delivery. And this is lofted down the ground. This is a bigger hit. And it lands just short of the boundary. I think it just stays inside, but goes for another 4.
A brilliant shot there. The ball coming nicely there. He was able to get under that one and hit it over just a couple of yards behind the boundary line. And here's another perspective to that wide. The umpire was probably just making a logical decision. If Arjun Mahesh couldn't stop it, it was a wide.
You know what? That works. That checks out for me. But I'll tell you, this is a bit of an expensive start. So the first over went for 14. The first 2 legal deliveries of this it's over have gone for 13. And the Skywalkers absolutely have some work to do. This is cut to backward point for a single. That's a good stop because, they had some protection out there. So that might have been able to be cut off. But still off and running here are the Katy Raiders. And 14 already coming from the second over with 3 to come.
Bagani, you can see him still arguing with the umpire for something. Not very sure what it was about on this occasion. But also finally able to pull that length back and bowl to his field.
Now here's the matchup I referred to earlier. With an odd number of runs having been taken, this matchup of Bagani versus Bagani is, I think, going to have a lot to do with what happens the rest of the way here. And, there's a psychological aspect. And the younger Bagani will think, you know what, if my big brother hits me for 6, that's what's supposed to happen. He's the bigger player. The older Bagani would be thinking, that's Ryan, there is no way I can get out to my younger brother. So some psychology going on here, and we'll see what the end result is. It's well defended into the offside for a single. So far choosing not to go after his younger brother.
Yeah, the length wasn't there. I'm glad to see that Ryan did not just try to hit him just because he's his brother. He's just playing the ball rather than the bowler.
I made the analogy last weekend that if you were bowling to, in this case, your older brother, and everybody knows that your older brother is more experienced, a bigger power hitter, so you're sort of you're in a no-lose situation. I'll tell you what I mean by that. That is pulled away massively. That is good. Definitely going for 6. What a huge strike. Short and rocking onto the back foot and bludgeoning that over mid-wicket for the first 6 of the innings.
Yeah, pace clearly not working, and this is not too pacey either. And if it was somebody bowling seam up, I would expect somebody who can quicken the batsman up. It's not happening, and both Pranav and Ryan, as we said earlier, would love to see somebody who's just military medium coming in and bowling into them. Pranav is a very good timer of the ball, and on this occasion, the length also not going in favor of Daniel. Big 6, that one. Quickly off to 35, and we're still one ball short of the second over.
Boy, now changing angles and going over the wicket. For me, that's a better angle. And this is played to backward point, and they get through for a quick single. So an expensive start. Daniel Bagani goes for 22 in his first over. 5 of those were wides. And at the end of 2, the score is 36 without loss.
This is a rollicking start for the Katy Raiders. They now just need a little over 100 runs to win in 18 overs with all their wickets intact. 4 more overs of power play left. Yesterday they scored about 90 runs in the first 7 or 8 overs. So this is all going in favor of the Katy Raiders at this moment.
In 2 overs of this innings, the required rate went from 7.22 down to 5.89 in 2 overs. So that gives you an idea of how brutal the assault is on these 2, or by these 2 opening batters. Ryan Bagani, 7 from 3, but Pranav Chettipalayam, 23 from 9, who really took a liking to the offers from Daniel Bagani in that first over. And it's going to be now Yash Patel who's going to be asked to pull things back. Around the wicket, launched over, extra cover for 4 more. So that's the area I referred to earlier where I expected that he would target, and he does exactly that. A brutal strike for 4.
I am personally so proud of my choice for the second innings. I was talking to the junior Malpani, a boy who was sitting here. He wanted to do the last 10 overs of commentary. He isn't getting any. I chose the first 10, and this is quickly getting over.
We may not get out of the power play at this rate. Only another another 98 runs to go for victory here. Did I get that right? Yep. My good. In fact, another 102. My apologies. But either way, we're almost a third of the way through to what would be a rollicking victory. And they do not seem in any way to be bothered by this bowling. Yash Patel, 18 runs conceded from 1.1 overs.
He was bowling too full on that occasion. He's a spinner, tall guy. And the pitch is offering something. It's bouncing low. Keep the length right. He's not. And once again, too full. Absolutely freed his arms. Similar shot. A replay of sorts there. Bowling too full to the left-hander who's waiting for hitting those balls over the infield. 8 runs of the first 2 deliveries there.
So this one is a little too wide. He actually found the edge. But I think you're exactly right. It's the length that was the undoing. At that length and with the reach that Pranav Chettipalayam has, he will extend his arms and he will go through. So even if he doesn't hit it cleanly, and once again, I think he was aiming for that extra cover area, even without having hit it cleanly, that's always going to be runs. And you're inside the power play overs, so your margin for error is minimal. And already 44 runs on the board, and we're only make that 2.2 overs into this innings.
Yeah, just to put things into perspective, the current run rate is 18.86.
Unbelievable. Yash Patel again switches back to over the wicket, and I think that length is a little bit better, and he also didn't toss that one up. He pushed it through a little flatter and keeping, at least for the moment, Chetapalem quiet. Another good delivery, just defended into the offside for no run.
Yeah, good comeback there in the last couple of deliveries from Yash. One angled outside the left-hander. The length was pretty good on that occasion. And the second one, Pranav just fended that.
Short of a length, pushes it through again. So he stopped flighting it. I think he'll learn his lesson. If you flight it to Pranav Chetapalem, he has the ability with his long levers to get under that ball. But he's pushed the last three through at pace, and I think he'll probably keep doing that. And this is played to short mid-wicket, make that wide mid-on. And so 4 dot balls to close things out in the third. That is a much better close to the over than to the first 8 balls that he bowled in his spell. At the end of 3, the score is 4-4 without loss.
Interesting to see if they will stick with Danyal. I doubt they will. They have a lot of bowlers who can take it upon their shoulders to try and bring this back. I can think of Aryan Satish, who's chosen to play despite his injury. Was also the skipper of the side. He might be coming on. Have to wait and see what the choice of bowling here from the Skywalkers is. They'd have been happy to have scored 44 runs at the end of 6 overs. They are 44 with just 3 overs haven't been done.
Wow. And compare this start to the start that the Skywalkers had. Remember, at the end of the power play, if I remember correctly, there were 35, 37, you're exactly right. So in that area, we're fewer than halfway through the power play, and there's already 44 runs on the board.
Yeah, you were right. They were 35 at the end of 6 overs. I remember calling 1 run short of a run a ball at the end of the power play. Now these guys are 44 with no loss.
So this is going to be Pranav Ramji, who has been asked to keep things quiet. Pranav Ramji, right arm over the wicket. Kind of a pacey delivery, of whippy action, and he gets Ryan Bagani to force that one down to mid-wicket for a single. But look, you take singles at this stage because anything similar to what has happened in the past, or at least in the first couple of overs, is going to be carnage.
Yeah, Pranav has been doing really well in the last a few games of this tournament. He's taken some important wickets. He took Pranav Chettapalem's wicket in the first game these two tournaments played. That was a tournament opener. And he at least didn't pitch it under his nose, Ryan Bagani's nose. He's waiting for that. He just bowled a good length, angled it inside, but he did pretty well there.
Well, Pranav Ramji put the ball in hand in the finals, which means that Ramji Subramanian is about to be the most nervous person in this entire facility. I don't know how you do it. When I was a cricket father, I had all sorts of trouble watching my son either bowl or bat. It is highly stressful, and seeing your son take the ball in hand in a final facing up to Pranav Chettapalia and Ryan Bagani cannot be easy.
Yeah, it is a mountain to climb as a parent watching a kid play, but I can tell you from some experience that over time, you just go over the mountain and then things just, you just become a fan of your kid.
Oh, look at that. Just short arm jab. Just pulling it over mid-wicket. Not very short, but I think that Pranav is going to want to get that ball fuller. It's better to have Chettapalem driving you down the ground than allowing him to go onto the back foot because he loves that stroke.
It wasn't a particularly bad delivery, just slightly short, but Pranav just going back on his feet and muscling that one just shows his mindset as well as his abilities. Brilliant batting this.
So we had the Battle of Aryans earlier. This is now the Battle of the Pranavs.
And then there is one Trumps going on in the other ground as well.
Correct. Boy. Already 49 runs on the board. Right arm around the wicket, looking to play this away. And it gets through Arjun Mahesh. This maybe buys. Let's see what umpire Mahesanya signals. There is a signal. So maybe a little bit unexpected from who I believe to be easily the best glove man in this tournament, Arjun Mahesh. but not able to collect that one, and he concedes a bye.
Yeah, this one was definitely 2 times as far as the Bagani delivery was, but the umpire called it a bye. Coming to census
in the air, and it's going to be dropping just short of that fielder down at long off.
Ryan Pagani trying to hit that one over the long off fielder. He's been so consistent in hitting his sixes in that region, unable to get any timing. Luckily for him, it didn't carry to the fielder, who was positioned for a shot that was mistimed.
So, of course, still in the power play. So, in thinking about the field that is being set, because you still have another couple of overs for the power play, Pranav Ramji with a fielder sweeping on the offside, and Joy Jadav down here at long off. So that line has to be outside off stump, and that's exactly what he does. Gets the line right, the length maybe just a touch short, and it's cut away behind point for a single.
Absolutely. He got it a little shorter than he would have wanted, giving an opportunity for Pranav to cut it. He's been good both off the front and back foot this innings. Puts the bigger Bagani on strike. You have a long off and a deep cover to catch anything he may hit in that direction. He's
down the ground. This is going to be 4. Struck straight. No fielder, obviously, ever going to be straight down the wicket. So that's almost always a good scoring option. And it is brutalized down the ground. That is 4 to close things out here in the 4th. And they're off to a fast start, the Katy Raiders, 56 without loss.
So the required run rate now has dropped down to 5.3, which was in the north of 7 at the beginning. The current run rate is 14 for the Katy Raiders, and this is a massive start. As I said, they would have wanted to capitalize during the power play, which they have done consistently well right throughout the tournament, and this is just another episode of a repetition.
So 2 overs up top from Yash Patel. Let's see who will be getting the bowling now from the Pearland end.
Yeah, too much to think now for the Skywalkers. They have just 85 runs to defend in 16 overs. And I think it is going to be Aryan Satish, the skipper, who will come on to bowl. Pranav will be happy to see Aryan Satish bowling into him. He's a leg spinner. He's also going around the wicket, and Pranav will definitely be eyeing that deep mid-wicket, cow corner areas for the boundaries. And there is no protection out there. I'm very surprised to see.
That's a curious choice for me to be bowling to a left-handed power hitter, bowling leg spin from around the wicket. All of those elements to me point to heavy scoring in that arc between long on and square leg. And this is tickled around the corner. This is going to be a cute-looking shot. He's a power hitter, but he just sort of glanced that one behind square for a couple. I expect for him to hit big or score big. I didn't expect a little dab behind point or behind square.
Yeah, missing the angle completely. It was a wide to start with, and Pranav just had to put a bat on it. Didn't want to try and muscle that one, just tickle that one. Gets 2 easy runs.
It's a good line, and maybe a little shorter than he probably would have wanted. Maybe you want him playing down the ground, but either way, just defend it to backward point for a dot. You almost get the sense that Pranav Chettipalayam is like a cat toying with prey.
Yeah, I just like the clarity of thought that he has. He's not trying to hit anything that is not in his reach or a short of length. He's just...
That's what I was expecting. Down the ground, a couple of bounces, and it goes for 4. So he's an absolute power hitter, and so the leggy bowling to him is going to be difficult to contain, I think. So the captain, my sense is that he's just rolling the dice because of the start that the Katy Raiders have had, and so far the roll of the dice hasn't worked.
Yeah, the third delivery there pushed a little further up and under Pranav's eyes. He was just able to hit it straight back over the bowler, and nobody was going to be able to stop that one from going over the fence. So this is 62 now, the total, or 58 rather, at the end of 4.2. This one goes back, kept low, but he was good enough to defend that one. No damage done.
Captain again tosses himself a catch and tosses it up just a little bit. Cut to backward point for no run.
Every time they've hit it straight to the fielder, they've taken off, and the decision making has been very good.
Oh, my apologies. They did take a single there, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Ryan was quick to come across, and he wanted some strike. Maybe he had a couple of things to say to Aryan. Don't know. To hit straight to the fielder, but he just ran across for a single. And Pranav was on his back foot, but was still able to gather himself and make it to the other end safely.
So one ball remaining in the fifth. And as a reminder, there's still one more over of power play left. So the Katy Raiders absolutely making hay while the sun shines. And look out for Ryan Bagani here. He'll be eyeing that area over mid-wicket. Oh, just for a second, check the shot and then just play the defensive stroke into the covers. But they still get one. So 8 runs coming from the first over. Amazingly, 8 runs is the lowest number of runs that has been scored in an over so far in this innings. After 5, the score is 6-4 without loss. When is the mayor coming?
He said he has some service going on, and he would probably be here 1-ish.
Okay. So if he gets here in time, do you want it to get him on the air?
I doubt he'll be get on time. The game will be done by then.
Right. Okay, no problem.
1 over left in the power play, and 64 already on the board. They'd be looking to be at 50% of the runs required at the end of power play, giving them another 70 odd to score in 14 overs. And at the other ground, it's a Trump Brothers show. This time Matthew Trump batting on 68 of 28 deliveries, 93 for 2 in 8.2 overs. The Kings chasing 240. It now makes me say that it's anybody's game with the start that they've got.
Did you say 68 in 28? So I was wondering what that text was about. I just got a text from Brett Trump, the Matthew and Josh Trump's father. He says, a much happier day in the Trump clan, which is not in any way surprising because both Trump brothers, even though I think either one would have been preferred, probably both would have preferred to have been playing in the championship game, nevertheless are showing their pedigree over on the Balkis field.
Yeah, wouldn't have been a bad idea to ask Brett to bat in this game here. Never know.
Lofted and gone for 6. What a huge hit. One, just planting that front foot, Ryan Bagani. That, for me, is the biggest 6 that I've seen this entire tournament. Actually carried and hit this fence on the fly.
Shayan Chakraborty, the new bowler, first ball, doesn't want to take time to see what the ball does, what the bowler does. Just picked length and muscled it. Huge 6 there.
Wow. So once again, this is the last over the power play. Another 5 deliveries left in the power play. The way that these two are stroking it, I don't know that it matters whether or not it's in the power play because they're both very naturally aggressive batters. And with only 2 fielders right now allowed outside the circle, those 2 fielders at deep extra cover and long off. That ball cannot be too short. And not only is it too short, it's too straight, and it's 6 more. What a huge strike by Ryan Bagani.
Even better shot. Had to punch his way through that shot, and he did that so beautifully. A brilliant 6, back to back now from Ryan Bagani. Scores moved on to 76.
Boy, his body language, if you see that replay that was just on your screen, his body language is suggesting that he is feeling himself. He's feeling confident. just rocking onto the back foot. And then not only was that the huge 6, but then the flourish after the shot tells me that he's really getting ready to feel his own confidence and looking to lead his team over the finish line. They're already more than halfway through the chase. 76 runs is the total, another 66 required.
Ryan Bagani striking at 288 per 100 balls.
Wow.
This is some hitting. We were talking about the pitch being low, slow, and this could be a tricky chase and all those things. He just put everything to rest.
Chakraborty again. Oh, getting a little too happy this time, Ryan Bagani, and he perishes. I think he was feeling very, very enthusiastic, wanting to get this game over with inside 9 overs. And he actually plays a shot to a ball that was not there for the type of shot that he attempted to play, and only skying a simple catch to point. So the first wicket goes down. Ryan Bagani dismissed 26 from 10. The score is 76 for 1.
This time the ball was slightly away from his reach. Ryan Bagani trying to muscle that one more time. It didn't work for him. He's kicking himself right now. And now he has to just go wait outside in his dugout to see if his team will cross the line, which I think they will. But he's not going to be at the center while his team does that.
Well, lessons to be learned. And part of this entire tournament is to be able to have these youngsters develop in their cricket. So a lesson that Ryan Bagani would probably want to take to heart is that if your momentum is taking you in the direction of a pretty convincing victory, take the runs as they come. The hard part has already been done. You've dismantled the opening attack, and everybody's on their back foot. The last thing that you want to do is to give the opposition or the bowlers any sniff of confidence. And essentially, you gave your wicket away by playing a pretty injudicious shot when you've already gotten 12 runs from the first 2 balls. There's all kinds of opportunity for you to just push the ball around and even score in 1s and 2s. And his natural game is good enough to score heavily even without having to go crazy. So I think that's a lesson that he can learn.
Absolutely. You don't want to throw it away. You've been playing so well. You just don't want to show that you can hit the ball when it's not needed and when it's not there, more importantly. It just puts a lot of pressure sometimes in a big final. The other batters can start feeling the heat as they go. It's never easy for any batter to go out there and get a start. And having said that, we now have Arya Kanata, the skipper of the team, to shoulder responsibilities. He's out there in the center joining Pranav.
Plays off the back foot. I hate to even bring it up, and everybody who is a fan of the Katy Raiders will hate for me to bring it up. But I mentioned earlier about the fact that there was a pretty ordinary attempt at a run chase yesterday, looking to drive big and coming off the inside edge. Could have gone back onto the stumps. So the chase yesterday that easily could have been a victory for and should have been a victory for the Katy Raiders ended up in a loss by about 2 runs. So that will be on the back of their minds. This is captain himself now making sure that he steadies the ship. And I like that approach. Just make sure you've already had 12 runs from the over. Just play out the remaining deliveries. 3 dot balls to close things out after the wicket. And then at the end of the power play, the score is 76 for 1.
Yes, the Katy Raiders have done everything right so far. They have done all the hard work. They've scored 76 of 6 overs. And from this point onwards, it's just making sure that they don't do anything stupid. Just play the ball on its merit. You have runs to take. The ball can start keeping a little low now that it's lost its shine. It's been hit out in the outfield quite a few times. So it's going to start probably doing things. Just play the ball on its merit, tap them, and get your way to home. That's what they should be doing.
So just a quick summary. We're obviously at a strategic timeout where we are. Score is 76 for 1. The Katy Raiders are off and running. Tremendous starts provided by Pranav Chetapalli, 43 from 23 with 7 fours and a 6. Ryan Bagani perishing after scoring 26 from 10 with 2 fours and 2 sixes. And Arya Kananta coming out to join the left-handed Chattipalliam. So let's just take a quick break, have a drink. That would be a non-alcoholic drink, of course. And then we will be back immediately after the end of the strategic timeout. We'll be back shortly.
Sure, Brian, take the lead. I want to take the lead as well.
All right.
Second.
Amit, A-M-I-T. And
What's your
that's
last name,
Hamid. Hamid Lakhani.
Amit, what's your last name?
Amit Godbole.
Godbole. You
It's
might
okay.
have said it a few more times. And Hamid Lakhani.
I'm known also Amit G. If you just want to use that, that's perfectly fine.
All right.
And how do you spell your first name and last name?
First name Brian, last name Walters.
Where are you from, Brian?
Jamaica.
I had a commentator with me from Jamaica in New York. We've done some assignments in Brooklyn, Queens.
What's his name?
I forgot now. It's been 15 years.
Is it Leonard the Tribar?
No, skinny looking guy.
Mm-hmm.
He had long hair back then.
So you know you can't be standing there be breathing heavily like that, right? Welcome back after the end of the strategic timeout. We're back ready with the captain with the ball in his hands, and he'll be bowling to the left-handed Pranav Chattipalliam. Stroke down the ground for a single. Joined here in the commentary area by two young men who I didn't know until about 3 minutes ago. Amit G and Hamid Lakhani. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon, Brian. Thanks for having us in the comm box.
So for those of you or those who don't know who you are, and unfortunately that includes me, introduce yourselves to the folks and tell them your connection to this tournament.
Absolutely. So, a brief introduction about myself. Grew up in New Jersey, in New York area. I'm a broadcaster. We have a show on radio called Full Toss. Excellent. I didn't want to interrupt you. This is in the middle of the play. And so we have a weekly show on radio, Brian. It's called Full Toss. Right now it's on 98.7 FM. It's Masala Radio. And we have been promoting cricket and domestic cricket in the United States for the last over 20 years now. And it's been wonderful. And my association with Houston Youth Premier League has been wonderful so far. I've had your representatives in our studio, Ramji, Ram, Mithali, and I appreciate them inviting us here today. But what struck me, Brian, the most is these are the kids who have grown up here, and to understand the game, to play the game the way they're playing right now. I was watching one of your bowlers just bowl a 14-year-old kid. It's not easy. You and I grew up watching it. These guys haven't done so yet.
Mm-hmm.
So it's incredible. And I'm going to ask Hamid to say your observations, Hamid.
Yeah, since Mr. Ram came in to our show 2 weeks ago and mentioned about the weekend, Youth Premier League, it's been very exciting and seeing these young kids just playing like mainstream cricket. So I hope these youngsters grow up into bigger players and we see them around in some bigger leagues, because leagues are coming up everywhere nowadays. So I think it's a good opportunity for these youngsters to come out here and play. And the way they're playing, it seems looks very professional. So I have all my attention on these guys.
I'm glad to hear that. Now, tell us again, for those of us who don't know, a little bit about the radio show itself and then about the station. How can people find you? What are your topics are that you discuss? To sort of talk a little bit about both of those areas for me.
So Full Toss, thank you, Brian. So Full Toss gets aired every Tuesday, Houston time, 7 to 8 p.m. And you can find us on online, masalaradio.com. If you're in the greater Houston area, 98.7 FM. And we have a following worldwide. Got folks tuning into our show from Abu Dhabi, Qatar, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, India, obviously. But we have a huge following in the Caribbean as well.
Interesting.
A lot of people do listen to us from there. And the name of our show is Full Toss, the voice of cricket in America.
Fantastic.
It's our commitment to promote domestic cricket, and we want to do that. That's our passion. Because everything starts on the grassroots level, and we strongly believe in that, and that's what we've been doing. And we're so glad to see the way these men are playing. And you did a wonderful job, Brian. I was listening to you outside.
Oh.
You've got a tremendous voice. Very, very, very happy to hear a commentator's voice in our area, so I'm very happy to see that.
I appreciate you saying that. I do this because it's fun. I actually live in Austin, but I come down every time the youth are having something, because I think it's incumbent on those of us who have any gifts to share them with the youth. And if the gift is just being able to provide a voice to what's going on, then for me, that becomes something that I have to do. And it's part of my commitment, again, to the development of youth cricket. Long story short, I've worn several different hats in cricket over the years. I've spent time on the board of the USA Cricket Association. But these days, the number one thing what's important to me is doing what I can to promote youth cricket.
And you're doing a wonderful job. I have a question for you, Brian. I was watching.
You are not allowed to interview me. That's not how this works.
As a passionate cricketer yourself, right? Couple of things I noticed: the way the shot selection, and now you watch international cricket. All these, professional players playing the sweep shots, the cuts, and this. I'm watching these wonderful players play the shots. How much of an influence do you think they do? They watch them play these professional cricketers, especially the shot selection, the way they approach the game?
The short answer to that question is there's way more TV around now than when you and I were growing up watching cricket. You won't believe this. I grew up in Jamaica. I moved from Jamaica when I was 14 years old. I saw in person 2 cricket matches in my life when I lived in Jamaica. All the rest of cricket that I experienced was on the radio.
Wow.
Beyond that, the amount of cricket that was available on TV in Jamaica obviously was next to nothing when I was growing up. So most of the cricket that I know was either from playing myself or from listening on the radio. These days, you cannot go anywhere without seeing a YouTube channel or Willa TV or any one of 5 or 6 different cricket channels. So the youth nowadays have much more at their disposal to be able to watch and experience cricket. Beyond that, the coaches who are in this environment, when I was playing, my coaches were my older teammates. Yeah. That's how it worked. Yeah. Now you have actual coaches with very high pedigrees who are able to not only find out what's the best thing about the players and help them accentuate it, but who have played themselves. The Texas Skywalkers, their head coach is Sushil Nadkarni.
Yes.
Sushil, for those of you who don't know, I think the best batter or one of the best 2 batters in the history of USA cricket. So people who are at that caliber not only can tell you what to do, but they can show you how to do it because they've done it themselves. So a very long way of answering your question, but I think there's more options and more resources for kids nowadays to be able to experience the sport and to be able to essentially replicate what they see on the screens and what they're told by the coaches.
It's a very confident innings by Pranav. I've been watching him play. His shot selection has been superb. It's marvelous to see the way he's approaching the game. Look at the confidence, Hamid Lakhani. How old is Pranav?
He's playing here in the youth tournament, so I'm assuming he's around 15, 16, 17.
Right? Yeah.
He's not older than 17. once again, I don't know all of these players personally. I live in Austin. I drive down to describe what I see without knowing very much about them.
I saw the 15-year-old was Sachin Tendulkar.
Yeah, he could bat a little bit. So, but Pranav Chettipalayam is just lofting this one down the ground for a couple of just one, but what you've seen from him, and even though the scoring rate has slowed down a little bit in the last couple of overs, what you saw from him is grabbing the chase by the scruff of the neck and putting the Skywalkers on the back foot. So even though as of right now we're 89 for 1 after 8, so they need another 53 from 12 at 4.42 runs and over. It feels like the hard part has already been done, and simple singles and doubles will win it from here. There's no reason to do anything rash. They have
Tapping it here and there.
Yes, they have 9 wickets in hand.
It will come.
Yes, so there's 9 wickets in hand. The captain, Arikanantha, is at the wicket. I don't think he will allow what happened yesterday where they stuffed up a pretty straightforward run chase. I don't think he'll allow that to happen again. And it's just a matter of understanding that this is a simple game and tap it into the gaps and you win this game.
He's got a tremendous momentum behind him right now. I'm talking about Pranav, right? The way he's batting, 47 or 31 deliveries, right? At this point, would you rather have him slow down or just continue with the momentum? You've got 9 wickets in hand.
I don't want him to do anything rash. I think you play a natural game. In other words, you don't go into a shell. If there's a ball there that you've been scoring off of that you can hit it. If you can hit it into the ball keys field because it's a bad ball, hit it into the ball keys field. But other than that, you get a good ball on off stump, defend it into the covers, take your single. So it really is just a matter of playing simple cricket that allows you to use your brain. Your brain just simply says there's no real opportunity to do anything rash. There's no reason to do anything rash because a very simple approach will win the game from here.
See, the way I look at it here is they've already batted 8 overs.
Yeah.
And they have 12 and 9 wickets.
Correct.
So they just need to put their heads down and do best what they do.
It really is that simple. Now, if you get the sense that, you get a rush of blood and you go charging down the wicket and get stumped, then you don't want to get the point where you let the Skywalkers back into the game mentally. Right now, the Skywalkers, their body language says that they're defeated. And you keep them feeling that way simply by continually scoring. So score off the good balls, score off the bad balls, just keep scoring. Tossed up. Oh, look at that. That was
Wonderful.
a big swipe outside off stump. It's almost a rash shot there, and that's a good collection by Arjun Mahesh. I don't know. You all have seen a lot of cricket. Pay attention to the keeper, Arjun Mahesh. I think, for my money, again, not only the best keeper in this tournament, but in the minor leagues, he plays for one of the minor league teams. He has the best pair of hands that I've seen in a keeper in a really long time. I'd like to see your opinion as you see him go throughout the rest of the series.
I was watching him earlier also when I walked in, and I absolutely agree with you, Brian. He's got just the way his approach is on the wickets. When you see him get down, get up at the same time. I think some of the more professional wicket keepers across the world, around the world, you see them do that. Another observation I have here is, couple of times I've seen them a non-conventional short third man here. What's the theory behind it?
If you're bowling with a pace bowler, somebody who's bowling genuine pace, who's bowling short of a length, and again at genuine pace, then you have a conventional third man. If your pace bowlers aren't that quick and they're bowling relatively full and relatively straight, then you probably don't need the third man all the way back on the boundary.
That's true. That's true.
So in this case, there's spinners bowling. So for a spinner, you'll almost never see a conventional third man because you don't expect the ball to carry that far off an edge from a spinner. But that's the sort of thing that you see developing in cricket these days, where the youngsters are learning the game. You understand, it's not a coach telling them who to put where. It's not a coach saying that third man is too deep, bring him inside the circle. The way that they've learned the game and the way that they've made the adjustments and knowing based on the conditions where the fielders need to be, that's the sort of thing that I see a lot of development and something that sort of emphasizes or epitomizes high cricket IQ, which is something I like to see.
It's wonderful to see I mean, if that's the case, well, as you just mentioned, Brian, right? I mean, these are the players who are taking a call on the field, and I commend them for doing that. Right? That's how they're going to learn. They get better at it every match after match. So it's good to see that they're experimenting it. They're going to learn on their own.
So back to your radio show for a second. You say that you have coverage or reach internationally and then here locally in Houston. Tell me about what numbers are we talking about? How many people listen to your show on a daily, on a weekly basis? By the way, is it a daily show or a weekly show? What is it?
It is a weekly show.
Weekly show.
It is a weekly show.
Do you have any numbers about how many people listen weekly?
Hamid Lakhani?
Kind of calls we get because the phone goes off the hook. So I presume there are a good audience which calls in and then simultaneously also sends us text. So I would say about 100, 200 listening at a time.
Sure.
To give you a little perspective on the kind of content we have, Brian, because we have an international crowd, one of the USP for our show is we do international coverage, including domestic matches happening in India or in the UK
Sure.
with the county cricket, and if the matches are happening in the Caribbean, we'll talk about them too. That gives a coverage to the teams, individual teams, but more importantly, we're also highlighting the performances. And so on a given day, what Hamid Lakhani just said, on a given particular show, these are just the callers who are calling in. But in terms of a sheer number,
Oh, sure.
it's out there. It's on World Wide Web. And the only way we know is because the kind of responses we've been getting from people on our Facebook page, Instagram page. These are some of the listeners who've been following us for over 2 decades now.
Very full, and an attempted drive by Pranav Chetapaliyam is missed. By the way, just to reset where we are in this game, the 100 is up. And
One run short of a half a century here.
one run short of half a century for Pranav Chetapaliyam. So the next single he'll be looking to, and there's that single we talked about.
There it is.
Hear the applause around the ground as Pranav Chetapaliyam. Just a very muted celebration because he knows that the job is not done yet. But I'll tell you what, this is good. I absolutely love to see that. I've seen international cricketers take their helmet off after having scored a 50, which is insulting to me.
I was about to say that.
This young man just a slight raise of the bat and then keeps going. Yeah.
I think that's something Brian just said literally 2 seconds ago. It's the awareness. He knows the job is still out there. He needs to get it done. So he's in that zone right now. Oh, this is close. This is close.
And then an additional run. So once again, I said it earlier, it feels just like, based on the body language of the Texas Skywalkers, that they're defeated. And in fact, the scoreboard was wrong a second ago. It showed 100.
Yes.
Now it's now 98 for one. But the individual score for Pranav Chetapaliyam is correct. He has his 50. And this is just served down the ground by the captain, Arya Kananta. And that gets us to 99 off of 10 overs. So that means just another 43 are needed from the last 10. Needing to score at the rate of 4.3 and over from here to win the championship in this Turmeric Spring Super Edition HYPL 2023.
And again, I'm gonna talk about that one more time. I know I tried it one way. I'm going to have the same conversation with you on a different angle.
Okay.
So Pranav, the way I see him bat right now, he's in that zone, right? My feeling is he can step up the pedal right now and just go for it. He's in that zone. He's in that mindset right now. Why to hold him back?
Here's where I would agree with you. If they were still in the group stages where things like net run rate would come into the equation, then I might consider doing that. From here, the job is score another 43 runs and you win. That's the job. Now another 42 runs with that wide. So if a bigger objective for me, if I were Pranav Chetapaliyam, would be to end this game not out.
Yes.
So if you start hitting big and you get caught on the boundary, it's a bit of a Pyrrhic victory for the opposition, but it still means that you don't finish the job. And I think it's much more important for him, and again, this is part of his own development. It's more important for him to continue along that same vein. You're doing what you need to do to drag your team over the finish line. Just continue doing that without taking any risks. So 101 for 1. This is Rahul Basu operating. Rahul Basu, 4 or none for 4 from 1.1 overs. Score 101 for 1. And Chittapalliam again stroking this one down to long on for a single.
Again, I can see the same thing. The short third man here is brought in, is moved again for the left-hander, and you have the constant switch. But if you were to attack it now, if you are the fielding team, and as you said, you can see them shoulders down. Why not go in the attacking mode?
So you want fireworks, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Oh, it's a lovely shot by the captain. It may just stop before it gets to the boundary, but they'll get 2. That is a proper looking late cut. You don't see those late cuts like we used to see.
Very rarely.
Exactly.
Very nice.
And you can call it the aggressive nature of T20 cricket these days, Brian, right? I mean, on international arena, the kind of cricket we've been used to, or getting used to, let me put it this way.
Split second wanted to experiment with getting a run there, but no realistic option.
And you were right about this young man, wicketkeeper, by the way.
Oh, he's brilliant.
Since you mentioned, I have been paying him extra attention. It's superb.
He's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Oh, interesting. So now they go for a good run. That is good cricket. That is absolutely good cricket. There's so many ways to score runs.
He just tapped it in front of mid-wicket.
That really
He just
is
tapped it in front of mid-wicket. Very nice thinking.
Sometimes just the easiest thing to do is just to tap it and get that single. That's exactly what they did there. So 105 with just 1 ball remaining here in the 11th over. Just another 37 runs needed.
See, most
lopped it down
important
the
is to
ground.
bat all your overs. The most important.
Well, I don't think they need to bat all their overs. The idea is with only 37 more runs needed and they only need to score 4 runs and over from here. I don't think they're going to take it to the 20th over.
Yeah, but what I meant to say that when you have your overs, you make sure you bat them all to get across the line.
Well, you're certainly going to get across the line. So looking at this, 36 runs needed, needing to score exactly at 4 runs and over. 106 for 1. Captain himself, Aryakananta, is 15 from 18. And Pranav Chittapalliam, 52 from 39. 38 make that with 7 fours and 1 6.
Some changes in the bowling, Brian.
Well, you get to the point where you start running out of options, unfortunately. This is going to be, I believe this is Yash Patel, who's about to bowl from the Massey Ranch Road end. Right arm around the wicket. This is forced off the back foot for no run. My apologies. That scoreboard says that it's Cheyenne.
Even his jersey, I was just noticed that, Brian.
In
Yeah,
fact,
Cheyenne.
there are 2 number 23s, so that's why it's confusing to me. So,
It's there for a
apologies.
reason, to confuse you.
Yes,
They're playing with
clearly.
your mind now.
Lofted in the air, catching opportunity, no. That's a good piece of fielding, though, running across, and they still get, in fact, that's just 2 runs. So,
Again, I'm saying this, Brian. Pranav is in that zone. He's in that zone. Do not hold him. Let him go at it. It's finals.
you just want to see big hits. In
Oh,
the air,
he's
this
absolutely-
not
he's
going to
absolutely
carry.
that-
Is it going to carry?
Oh, that's
we
dropped.
put him down.
That's an opportunity missed. How costly do you think that's going to be now?
In the grand scheme of things, not costly at all. Even if that's a wicket, you're still only needing to score less than 4 runs a ball to win. So I don't think it's going to be much of an issue. But for for the standpoint of having a moral victory, you want to make sure that the man who has scored 55 runs, you see the back of him. But 3.88 runs and over is nothing. The three of us in this room, the four of us in this room right now, if we were asked to go out there, we could score less than 4 runs and over. And this is
That's
my
another
goodness.
Another dropped opportunity.
Unfortunately, I have to say that it feels like the Texas Skywalkers have given up. That there was not much effort given to attempt to catch that ball. It was worked straight to mid-wicket, and he barely reached forward it. In fact, yes, they have removed him from that mid-wicket area into, in fact, now mid-wicket because it's mid-wicket for the left-hander. And sometimes when you have a bad day in the field, that ball tends to follow you in the air for
There
a
it is.
while.
There it
Could
is.
have been a catchable opportunity.
Gentlemen, we have been talking about Pranav. We've been talking about the fielding very quietly. Arya is now on 16 off 19.
16
He's
off
a very
19.
silent operator, I can see.
Not only is he a silent operator, as captain, he is a calming influence. And he would have been one who was telling the others, there's no reason to rush anything. Let's just take it as easily as we can. Now, if you get a bad ball, feel free to hit the bad ball, but there's no reason to force the issue if the ball is not there to be hit. Off the back foot, that one staying a little low. I think you saw some evidence of that earlier on. That is the last ball. So 12 overs up. The score is 111 for 1. Just another 31 runs needed for what would be a pretty convincing victory for the Turmeric Spring Super Edition HYPL 2023 for the Katy Raiders. So where do you go for your next bowling option? My two fellow commentators here want fireworks. They want this match to be finished in the next over and a half, apparently.
The only reason why I'm saying that, because the way Pranav has been batting, he's in that zone. I keep repeating myself. He's in that zone. Don't hold him. Let him go gung-ho. Open up. Hit it.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I think that the approach that they're taking is
Brian,
more than
watching
appropriate.
Arjun right now reminds me of a Caribbean wicket keeper.
Who is that?
It's one of my favorites, all-time favorites. I'll tell you after the delivery.
Okay.
Jeffrey Dujon.
So Jeffrey Dujon is probably a foot taller than,
Yes.
than Arjun Mahesh.
I'm sure Arjun will get there one day. a little bit.
But
that slight hand that I was watching him very closely right now.
Jeffrey Dujon, I think, was probably our best glove man.
Yes.
And, of course, a keeper for the majority of our glory years. This is too far outside off stump, and this is going to be a wide.
It's a good call. It's a good call.
Certainly a good call, but in the sense that...
Look at his hand position right now. Now you tell me, Brian, that's Jeffrey Dujon.
I do not disagree with you in the very least. And, in fact, I'll tell you something else in a minute. This is short and punched into the covers for no run. One of Arjun Mahesh's coaches is the great Orlando Baker. I don't know if you know the name Orlando
Yes,
Baker.
I do.
Orlando Baker, from Jamaica, of course, represented the USA for a number of years, brilliant all-rounder, and these days is one of the coaches for Arjun Mahesh. So maybe that's
Excellent.
where some of that Jeffrey Dujon influence comes from. Orlando Baker, very, very wily player, has a skill as a wicketkeeper, as a bowler, as a batter. Really nothing on the cricket field that he can't do. So I would not be surprised if there was some of that influence seeping into Arjun's game.
As I was thinking about it, just saw a fielding change right by this, right on the right side. Let me wait for the delivery.
Oh, cheeky. Looking to sweep around the leg side. I think that might have just been an under edge. Arjun Mahesh himself. Oh, look at that.
What a beauty.
I'll tell you what. There is the skill that I'm referring to. He sprints 30, 32 yards for that ball and then whips the glove off and a direct hit from 30 yards away. That is the talent that I tell you that I've seen this young man have. Here we see on the replay. Look at that sprint. That's all of 30 yards on the 30-yard circle and a quick pickup and a throw. Hits the stumps directly. My goodness, this is really good wicket-keeping
That's
skill.
a great level of athleticism.
In the context of this game, won't make a very big difference. This is through the offside. There's going to be another couple. Wow. So all of a sudden, I have a complaint coming all the way from Germany. Here's the complaint. The complaint is from Mr. Pratir Mehta, who claims that he's a cricketer, but I think of him more as a commentator. He says, Pranav C is not a power hitter. He's an out-and-out opener. He's a traditional opener in the sense that he loves to bat, and usually he deals in fours, not sixes. Well, Pratir, you're way too far away for me to argue with you, so let's just take what you say at face value. In any event, so I'm going to work this young man in for a couple of overs, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this match is probably only 25 more runs away from being finished. So Ishan, I'm going to ask you, and we're going to share the mic here because there's so many of us in the studio. But I'm going to ask you for your impressions, not just of this game, but of the overall tournament.
This game was a really good game.
Well, it's not finished yet.
Yeah, but like it's a really high contesting game. Like, Katy Raiders fought very hard in the field and are batting well. Pranav Chittapalyan with a great 50, and Ryan Bagani getting out unluckily. But this was a good tournament, good game, and this tournament was good. This edition was good to like see other people play from different parts of the country and parts of the state, and also like all the people that scored hundreds and 50s and scored runs and took wickets in this tournament was amazing.
So, Amit, we were talking earlier about how youth cricketers have the amount of resources available to them that we didn't have when we were growing up. And certainly that Mr. Yogesh Patel did not have when he was growing up. But this young man, had he not injured himself, would have been playing in this tournament. He's 12 years old.
Wow.
He would have been playing in this tournament had he not been injured.
I thought he was a broadcaster the way he was talking to you right now.
Well, I have a habit of turning players into broadcasters, but
Well, I hope you get out of this soon. I wish you the speedy recovery.
Thank you.
So what position do you play? Are you a batter? You're oh my goodness, you're an opener.
Yes.
I was just arguing with, and I can safely say arguing because I have been pressing on this issue. See, I watch the way Pranav is playing, right? We have a gentleman from Germany who just said he's an opener, right? You're an opener. I love the way his approach is. What do you think? He should just go gung-ho, just now bam, bam, cricket? Not worry about it?
Let him do what he wants to do.
Thank you. There you go.
I don't hear him agreeing or disagreeing with you. That was a very political answer I just heard.
You belong in commentary box, my man.
I heard him a few times. He's very good. I remember you yesterday 130K.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm the one who suggested that is 113K. That's what you meant, right?
Gentlemen, look at that. Arya quietly on 23 right now. He's creeping in there. He's doing a wonderful job. Wonderful job. This is a very strong batting lineup.
Yeah. Katy Raiders picked their players good, and they retained some good players. But also, when Arya gets one bat ball, he's going to demolish it for 6.
So, young man, I have a question for you. Looking at the field right now, what I was telling Brian earlier, to have a little bit more attacking field. If you feel the fielding team is now getting their morale down a little bit, as a captain, would you have an attacking field right now?
I would. If I was a captain, I would cheer the team up first of all, and I would start talking about start bringing in all the fielders in.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Start pressuring the batsmen. But what their captain is doing is letting them have an open field and letting them take these easy singles, and he isn't talking on the field.
So more communications. That's what I'm hearing from you.
Yeah.
Right, better communication.
Yeah.
Are you sure you're not a commentator?
Yes. Yeah.
I want this kid on our show, Hamid Lakhani. Would you like to come to our radio show one of these days?
Sure. You
We'd
already.
love to have
My
you.
dad was already on the show.
Who's your dad?
Raj.
That's your dad.
Yeah.
Ah, yes. And I'll tell Raj to bring you next time. 61 of 48, Pranav.
I've already told Ishan that he's not allowed to use words that have more syllables than his age.
12
So
years old, right, Ishan?
looking at the game that is going on, the third place game between the Challengers and the TCC Kings, a very exciting game by comparison. The Challengers batting first scored 240.
My. This is T20.
240. Josh Trump scoring 181 from 81 balls, 22 fours and 8 sixes. And his fellow opener, Darsh Jagan Mohan, 51 from 40, 4 fours and 2 sixes.
I remember Ramji and Ram talking about the Trump brothers when
Yep.
they came to our show.
Exactly.
181.
In response, Matthew Trump, Josh Trump's brother, is 168 not out with 15 fours and 15
What did
sixes.
they have for breakfast today?
And that one is actually coming down to the wire. 25 runs needed.
That's a
in
big appetite.
25 runs needed in 3.2 overs with 7 wickets in hand. Tremendous.
Brian, did you notice the way Arjun has been keeping? And this is what I was referring to when I told you about the modern day cricket and the exposure. Most of the professional cricketers these days, stick their foot out. I've been watching him do the same thing, and that's a new technique a lot of keepers have developed over the years. In our days, we didn't see that as much.
You're absolutely right. The idea is just to whatever you need to do to not let the ball get by you. That's what you use.
It's the agility that I'm talking about.
But one thing I've also noticed, and I'll tell you after this ball, that's going to be wide. Look how quickly, if he needs to chase after the ball, look how quickly the glove comes off of his right hand.
And that's what I meant by agility, right?
It's off in a flash, and he's up, and he might as well just be another fielder by the time he gets to the ball. So just tremendous ability. This is dropped into the offside, and it's all over but the shouting here. Another 13 needed from the 5.4 overs.
Like Mr. Ahmed said, that sticking out the leg. I also did that once while I was keeping. I stuck out the leg, but my pad was rotated, so I got hit in the knee.
Young man, what else do you do? You're a good commentator. You're a good opener. You also say you're a keeper now. You can do everything. You're an all-rounder.
Of course he can do everything.
Put me on the field.
Yes.
Just put me on the field.
Wow. So just another 13 runs needed, gentlemen. 5.3 overs. And a match that feels like effectively has been over with for the last, no pun intended, for the last 5 or 6 overs. It's just a matter of administering the last rites.
You know how Coach Ramji came and said HYPO, talked about HYPO Junior?
Yes.
Yes, I'm playing in that.
Wonderful. Wonderful. All the best to you, young man.
Thank you.
I hope your injury gets, you get recovered from very soon, but take care of that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Yet another single. You mentioned the field setting, and it doesn't make a very big difference at this stage, but
I was referring more on a moral victory, right, as a fielding team.
make them go over the top. Challenge them. They're milking these singles just like it's batting practice.
There's-
Yes.
That's what Ishan was saying.
Yes.
Yeah, all they're doing is just dropping it, letting all the fielders do what they need to do.
Mm-hmm.
The captain isn't saying a word either. He hasn't said anything, I'm pretty sure.
So just 11 more runs needed.
Lovely.
Using the feet, skipping down the wicket, and getting a single down to long on. That is the end of the over. 15 done.
If we're going to talk about Pranav Chittapalyam, I would say he's an explosive opener.
See? There you go.
Not a traditional one, but he's an explosive one.
Brian here, that's what him and I have.
But if you talk about like me or any other player, I start off very traditional and I go into this wide stance to go and start hitting the ball.
Wide stance. May I remind everybody he's all of 12 years old.
Going like letting my letting my bat foot be seen.
Sean, where do you learn all these words and where do you learn all the terminology? Do you watch a lot of cricket on television?
No, I just have really good coaches.
Yes.
Oh, boy.
Completely.
Very nice.
Impressive.
Well, where we are right now, that appears to be, is that Rishi Ramesh? No. Yes, that is Rishi Ramesh, who I think is about to bowl. And with only 11 runs, make that 10 runs needed for victory. I suspect that it doesn't really matter who is bowling, because 10 runs to be scored in the next 5 overs does not sound like much of a challenge. But either way, you still have to get across the finish line. And I think for me, objective number 1 for Pranav Chittapaliyam is to end up not out. So he does not need to take any risks. Rishi Ramesh, who's known much more as a batter than as a bowler, batted very well today, but the team itself, I think, put a bit of an undercooked total on the board. Rishi Ramesh, leg spinner from just a few practice deliveries that we just saw from him, and he's bowling leg spin to Pranav Chittapaliyam. In theory, if he wanted to hit a 6, this would be a good bowler to go after. But he does what I think he should do, just punches it down to mid-wicket for a
I
single.
told you, he'll keep nicking it here and there, and just keep going.
I think he remembered yesterday's game, so
Yeah.
what happened to them?
Exactly.
Brian, also kudos to all the coaching staff, the way they have been training these young kids. I give a lot of credit to them. I'm just watching these batters bat. It's not easy. The technique,
Correct.
it's not different than any other international player that you watch on television these days. Incredible.
You're exactly right. So, Arikananta sneaking up to 28 from 29. Tossed up and defending it low. It's
I
almost
love
like he's
this
playing
bowler's action, by the way.
Ah,
I
okay.
love this bowler's action.
He is a really high-level cricketer. Plays in the minor league system for the
Yeah.
Dallas Mustangs. Rishi Ramesh, just a really, really good young cricketer.
Good stride, good extension of the arm. Love it. Look at that. Look at that.
This is-
Yeah.
he is an absolutely dynamic fielder.
He's technically a good all-rounder, like a really good all-rounder.
Hey, Sean, let me ask you a question. Do you feel that they should have switched go around the wicket for a lefty like that who's in a superb form to get them, play into shot or commit to a shot where they have no other option but to play it?
It all.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Oh, no.
He's in a good rhythm now, right?
Yeah.
Good rhythm.
it all depends on how you bowl to lefties. If you bowl right arm over to a lefty, then that's what you're most comfortable with. And you wouldn't want to change that unless like you're bowling bad. But he's bowling good. He's bowling on his offside, just turning it in, making Pranav Chittapaliyam run for his or play good shots to get his doubles and singles.
So it's 6 runs now. Go for it. What's the mindset? Go for it.
You're still holding up for fireworks. This match is literally one stroke away from being
You
finished.
just want to milk the runs, because you're only 6 runs in 4. You only need 6 runs in like 24 balls. You would just want to milk it. Yeah, you just want to milk it.
If he gets a real bad ball,
He'll dispatch it. He'll dispatch it if it's a bad ball, but most of the balls are good, and he just wants to milk them for singles and doubles.
That is exactly the approach. So 1 ball remaining here in the 17th and the 16th, I'm sorry.
I like what I see from Rishi, Brian. It's a very
Rishi.
conventional spinner. Look at I love the way his action is. Look at that. A little small little kick there.
Tossed up. As well played by Arya Kananta. Goes into the outfield. So just another 4 needed for victory.
Pranav was on strike now.
No, that's the end of the over. That's the end of the over. So It will be Arya Kanantha who remains on strike. 138 for 1. Just another 4 runs needed.
I'm pretty sure Coach Neeraj is yelling, "Keep it down! Don't go for the big shot!"
You're talking about Coach G, right?
Yeah. So Arya's probably just gonna take the single, but Pranav Chittapalya might have a different. Pranav Chittapalya might have a different opinion about only taking singles.
This is a 12-year-old talking.
12 years old.
It is Pranav on strike, by the way. You have 4 needed from 4 now.
That's Arya Kanantha on strike.
Arya Kanantha is on strike.
And this is Tarandeep, who has been asked to administer the last rites. Tell us about Tarandeep.
Tarandeep Paul is a off spinner and is a tail ender, so he can hit if he really needs to.
Starts off here with a dot ball.
He's a good off spinner, but like he sometimes doesn't. He can't like keep his line and length in the same place for a long time.
Okay, that's a good ball. I tell you what, it goes past the outside edge. That's not easy for an off spinner.
Arjun is a sharp keeper. You know who Zain Khan is, right? Yeah, Zain Khan.
Tell us.
So he's a fast bowler, and a few years ago he was really fast. In the peak of his Rishi Ramesh.
How fast was he?
He was like
How fast was
110.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
I just want to make sure now.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
You're not going to try to tell me bowl's 150.
No, it was a long time ago, and Arjun Mahesh was keeping up to him.
Wow.
He was a good keeper with fast reflexes. He had a stumping off Zain, actually.
So 4 dot balls. This is good bowling by Tarandeep.
And especially at the stage that we are in right now. You just need 4 runs and you have 4 dot balls.
Mm-hmm.
That speaks volumes, Brian. Absolutely volumes.
It absolutely speaks volumes. And you just want to get a good over under your belt. May not matter in the grand scheme of things. There should be just one. No, they'll come back
wait
for
the
2.
second one. Oh, he's got to be quick. That is
made
close.
it.
That is very, very close.
Now it's just one stroke away for them.
Well, it's been 1 stroke away for a handful of deliveries now.
Yeah, but
only 2 runs needed.
would they really go for the shot?
I think it's the bat that saved them.
Would they really go for the shot at the very end? So I think they're going to get 2 on this ball. I think they're going to go get 2 from this ball.
Well, now they bring the entire field
So
in.
now they have to hit over.
So I
Or
would
they
have
have
brought
to
the
take
field
a-
in 5 overs ago.
Yeah,
because taking wickets would have been the only way to prevent this from happening. This is played to the best fielder on the field, Rishi Ramesh.
He's the same spinner who was bowling.
Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe
So
now all they got to do is just hit it over them.
just 2 runs coming from that over. The 17th is done. And just another 2 runs
Look at this.
needed.
I love that over, Brian. Look at that. So many dot balls. Good fielding.
Well,
Very good fielding by Rishi.
the way that you take wickets in some instances is just by building pressure.
Sure.
In a different situation, had this been different and maybe instead of chasing in 3 overs, instead of needing 2, you needed 22.
2 runs needed.
Right.
Pranav is on strike.
Right.
You've got a spinner in Rishi.
What are you asking Pranav to do here?
Go for it.
Oh my goodness.
Go for it, Pranav.
So Rishi Ramesh back with the ball in hand. This, I suspect, will be the last over of the match. Bang!
There he
There's
goes.
the
There he
game.
goes.
That is the end of the tournament. The Katy Raiders
What an innings by
have
Pranav.
completed an absolutely dominant performance by winning by 9 wickets.
9 wickets.
Tremendous effort in a game that effectively has been over since the opening onslaught by Ryan Bagani and Pranav Chittapalya. Chittapalya ends up not out, 71. And Arya Kanantha, the captain, coming in at the end to score 32 from 38. So just a quick run through of the entire scorecard. The Skywalkers, having been asked to bat, started out with Arjun Mahesh, 53 from 45, and Rishi Ramesh, 46 from 43. lost their way in the middle, and then Aryan Satish added a few blows at the end to get them to 141. But that was never going to be enough, I don't think. And then Pranav Chattopadhyay, 71 from 55 with 8 fours and 1 6. And Ryan Bagani, 26 from 10 with 2 fours and 2 sixes. Got them off to a really fast start. And Arya Kanantha there at number 3 to make sure that the boat was not rocked. And a pretty convincing victory in the end. So thank you, everybody, for joining us for this, the 2023 Houston Youth Premier League. Some parting words from our young commentator, Mr. Malpani.
Thank you, Brian. Katy Raiders have won 2 championship titles and 1 runner-up titles in the last 3 editions that they played. So 3 titles and 3 editions.
Fantastic. And last words from Mr. Amit.
First of all, Brian, thanks for having us in the
and kudos to you. And I wish you all the best. I wish you some Youth Premier League and all these young cricketers like Ishan in the studio right now. We have in the comm box. And thanks for having us. Sunday I've had it in a long time.
Your words bring chills to me. Thank you very much for everything that you've done. Thank you for what you're doing in the promotion space, because if all the cricket in the world is here and nobody knows about it, it doesn't make a difference. So your work with the radio station, being able to provide a voice for the sport, is a very important element in us promoting cricket going forward.
We'll continue to do so, Brian.
My pleasure.
Same here, sir. Same here. The pleasure has all been on this side of the room. Thanks
So,
for having us.
signing off for now from the Moosa Cricket Stadium in Pearland, Texas. It's been fun, everybody. Talk to you soon. Excellent.
Great job.
Thank you. Thank you. So we have the closing ceremony, and then I get to drive home.
A couple of hours?
3.
Oh, God.
I live in North Austin, so
Oh
it
my
takes some
God.
time to get there.
Is this once you left Jamaica?
Yo! Yo!